Serbia.
Still same pressure, 60
on 50.
To your nav state with back and it's perfect.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar search for running mate as they worry about Peter Obi and Rabiu Kwankwaso. And 6 members of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, have been shot dead at the Segun Oni rally as thugs attack. This is Plus Politics. I am Mary Anako. As the 2023 presidential elections have entered a new phase with the emergence of party candidates, the All Progressive Congress APC elected a former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, as its candidate, while the PDP had earlier elected ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar as its flag bearer. Now, the involvement of 2 other candidates, former Governor Peter Obi of the Labour Party and Rabiu Kwankwaso of the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, seem to add some complications. However, the places of these candidates are not cemented, as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has given them until June the 17th to name their running mate, without which their candidature would be invalid. They also have until July the 15th to withdraw from the race and for their parties to name their replacements. Well, joining us to discuss this is Jide Ologun, he's a legal practitioner, Ezekiel Nyaitok, a politician, and of course, Kach Ononoju, who is a political analyst. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this conversation.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Great. Let me start by looking at the candidates for the 2 major political parties, that's the APC and the PDP. Apparently, as soon as an article emerged, everybody was looking to the APC to see who was going to emerge. And then, of course, when Tinubu emerged, the next conversation was who would deputize them. I'll start with you, Ezekiel. The issue that everybody seems to be talking about now is Muslim-Christian ticket. And I'm wondering, and I'm guessing some pundits are also asking, should we be thinking about that in 2022? Why is this very important in today's Nigeria?
Again, thanks for having us. I'll tell you this for free, and that is that politicians think of the permutations to win an election. And when they win an election, whatever happens thereafter, it's left for you to conjecture, so to speak. Now, the narratives or the conversations should have been heard long before now. For instance, if PDP wants to win, their first question is, what can we do to win? They look at the numbers, they look at the demography, they look at the law. The law does not inhibit anybody from, picking only that the north-south. You can't have a north-north, presidency and vice presidency. It's got to be a north-south. So they now ask, for instance, it started with the PDP. By the time the PDP had picked an Atiku, one would have wondered if the PDP would have picked Atiku if APC had first had their primaries. So as soon as it went to Atiku, the next logical question was, who can beat, who can match, who can muster whatever it takes to match an Atiku? And in their permutation, they looked at 1, 2, 3 people. Now you look at a man like Osinbajo, and they're like, what are the chances that he'll be able to match this guy? Or you look at, you know, a man like, somebody they didn't quite like, talking about Jagaban. But the issue is, Jagaban has come to have a certain life politically that is large and perception is good. So naturally, they had to leave some of the finest speech to me on that night was from Cross River State Governor. He had the right sound bite and everything. And if it was like an interview, he would win hands down. But when you look at the other side of the coin, you realize that Jagaban has more of the political clout, so they went for him. So the issue is Muslim ticket comes only to the extent where the permutation is who can help me to win. If today, a man like Kwankwaso had a guy running mate like Tinubu or the reverse, it will be almost game over. Notwithstanding whether it is Muslim or not, politically speaking, until we now come to have Nigerians sensitized to the extent that they can say no. And right now, that is not there, because when you look at what happened in the primaries, the Southeast, the South generally, that were clamoring for it, ended up going for an Atiku. And one would wonder what happened to the Southeast desire. One would have expected bulk vote from them, at least, to make that point. But it didn't happen. So the permutation is who can help us win, and not the sentiment and the emotions.
Okay. I don't know if Dr. Catch is here. Dr. Catch, I want you to pick up from there.
Yes.
Aside from, whether we have grown to a point where we can jettison these ideas of whether you're North or you're South or you're a Christian or a Muslim, how will this ideology or this tilting help us to achieve the kind of progress or progression that we need as a country in 2022, when we're picking based on not just numbers and clouds, we're also looking at your religion and ethnicity. And in the same breath, we're saying, well, we do not want us to be divided on those same lines.
Well, our country runs a representative democracy, and that's why people must be carried along. But of course, the last permutations you saw in regards to my party and that of the APC, they were not based on that intention to consider the country, to consider diversity, to consider inclusion. No, they were purely based on money. Money, nothing else. Tinubu paid ahead to the governors, and the governors then work for him from the north. And I will tell you, the APC itself, the presidency was prevaricated. First, it went for Amechi, but because there were people in the cabal that didn't want Amechi, they wanted Goodluck. When Goodluck slipped off, they now were stranded, and that's why you saw them trying to bring Ahmed Lawal. And what happened? But by that time, Tinubu had already paid and bought the governors. And this is a strategy, not just he didn't go for the delegates. He went for the states. So when he had the governors working for him, they simply delivered in regards to the monies they got. So it's not a popularity contest, no. It is a money contest in both my party and in the APC. And we believe this is the problem right now with the system. Somebody can go away for 3 years, 4 years, come back and have enough money to simply force outcomes. That is dangerous for the polity. In the other place, you now have, because of the new amendment to the Electoral Act, there is suddenly the confidence of the youth who, when they did their NSAS, the government used violence to suppress them. Somewhere, somehow, they are back again, and they seem to have found in Mr. Peter Obi a face that they have now employed to stay as a mascot for their masquerade. That is giving everybody trouble because of the change in the Electoral Act amendment. We really don't know because, see, you cannot do certain things you used to do before. There will be no more collection center. That's where a lot of the riggings occur. There is now things like electronic transmission of results. There is also biometric authentication of who the voters will be. And most importantly, there is no more use of the incident form. So these three things combine to make the rigging a little bit much more difficult. So we are moving to somewhere very, very new. And I see the youth suddenly coming out to register because they see what they think they want. We, the legacy parties, if I tell you we are comfortable, we are not. Because in our party, Kwankwaso left with millions of emotions. Also, Peter Obi left with millions of emotions. So you're not going to tell me everything is no, things are no more the same. Whoever thinks things are the same has not seen that the Electoral Act now makes rigging a little bit much more difficult. We are in for interesting times. I am excited as a Nigerian to be alive during this period of this disruption. Whether you like it or not, the youth movement is a disruptive event in our political history. Where it's going to lead us to, I do not know. So I am very, very interested in the new upheavals.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you to grill you on your excitement and what this might do to your party. But let me go to Barrister Ologun. Barrister Ologun, let's look at what INEC has said now. INEC is giving them a couple of days to show who their running mates will be. Now, we also know how dicey a situation this is because, again, we've heard of, people have made speculations of a Governor Okowa in Delta State and a Governor Wike in River State. We've even heard of a certain Governor Donald Duke, a former Governor Donald Duke, who's also come into the picture for the PDP here. And then for the APC, we're yet to understand who, the flag bearer might pick. But let's take a look at these people who have been mentioned or their names have been thrown up and where INEC stands. Is that enough time to pick the right person that would help them win that particular election if they finally get to that point?
Absolutely, they have enough time because INEC is not likely to change the time for them to present their candidates. And now, as the elders have given their own submissions, it's very important and critical to political success who these vice presidents are, because the electorate, they have their emotions. And we have factors that affect the voting emotions. We'll talk.
I think that we lost the connection there with Barrister Ologun. Barrister Ologun, can you hear us? Barrister Ologun, are you still there? We lost you for a minute. Are you back? Oh my goodness, I think we lost Barrister Ologun.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes,
I said.
Go ahead.
I said now that the PDP has a presidential candidate from the north, to cut across the country in terms of harvesting votes, it's just sensible.
I think we're having connection issues. Barrister Ologun, we're going to try to get you back.
The vice president should come from now. It's a matter of political follow-up.
We will try to get you back on a clear line, but let's toss back to Mr. Nyaitok. Mr. Nyaitok, let's look at the names that have been thrown up. Let's start by assessing a former Governor Donald Duke, who took Cross River State from, where it was and set it on the map while he was there for 8 years. Let's also look at the Governor Wike, who is fondly called Mr. Projects in River State. We also saw him closely behind Atiku. If not for the stepping down of Tambuwal, we probably would have seen a Wike leading. Let's also look at a Governor Okowa in Delta State. Some people would say that he's someone that would make a fine vice president. But all three of these names that have been thrown up, what are the possibilities of these men making vice president?
There's actually a very serious old-time, big-time relationship between Mr. Atiku and Mr. Donald Duke. I think story has it that it was Mr. Donald Duke's father that brought Mr. Atiku into the customs, something like that. So their relationship goes real way back. That's on a personal level. On the other hand, Mr. Donald Duke is one man that has had the respect of Nigerians, particularly the young people. So by the time you are having the tsunami, as it were, seemingly is with Mr. Peter Obi, a man like Mr. Donald Duke could be a game changer because he is loved by Nigerians, is loved by the youth. He made, such great impact while he was in Cross River State as the governor of Cross River State. He did very, very well. And when he left office, he's maintained that level of respectability for himself. So he'll be a very great pick for Mr. Atiku because they'll be able to work together. Then when you come to a man like Mr. Wike, now Mr. Wike has financial war chest, which Mr. Duke, Mr. Atiku could say, I already have that. So in a football match, you want to have the different the players. You don't want to have two goalkeepers. You want to be able to have, your goalkeeper, the defense, the midfield, the striker. So if you have money and I have money, it's like two goalkeepers. You've got to bring something, an X factor into the game. Then if you look at a man like Mr. Okowa, Mr. Okowa is somebody that is so highly respected. He kind of comports himself with this level of, with this decorum. And, there's something about him that people just say, oh, this guy is a gentleman, he's God-fearing. So he brings something to the table that when they think in terms of integrity, the fear of God, and somebody who is going to be loyal and trustworthy, Mr. Okowa ranks high. So I see a tussle this time around between Mr. Okowa for bringing that governance and, the governors, being their colleague current, and Mr. Donald Duke, who is that flamboyant guy that is seen as a go-getter, a focused person, and all that. Then look at him, man. The guy just looks cool all the time. And, so a face like that will definitely resonate with Nigerians, and he could give Mr. Peter Obi a run of some sort. It's just that he is going in for a PDP that, people are like, we don't want PDP, we don't want APC. So without that sentiment, he would have been a good pick. And of course, please don't throw out my governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, who could also bring something to the mix. So, but I think that the two top people, in my opinion, are going to be a choice between Donald Duke on strategic ground and maybe Okowa on strategic grounds as well.
Okay. Dr. Katch, let's look at the dilemma here for, we've looked at the PDP. Let's look at, Peter Obi here. Peter Obi seems to be the game changer, or in your words, the disruptor alongside the young people. We see, like you said, a movement of sorts tilting towards a Peter Obi, even though many had said he leaving the PDP was a very bad move and going to a Labour Party that has had factional issues that may not necessarily have as much a structure as the PDP and the APC. But then there are all others who are saying, well, we can build that structure. We have at least 7 months before the elections, and we're going to make sure that we toss both the APC and the PDP into the bin. But what are the chances that Peter Obi has right now, and who would he be looking at as a running mate? Knowing that, he already has some form of goodwill with the people, but who does he pick in the few days that he has right now to run with him and run with that vision that he has?
Yes, on the issue of running mates, I am aware that there are a lot of permutations. I'm aware that stakeholders are also seeking. Don't forget, the reasons why my party is the top. It's this Peter Obi phenomenon. It's not just a Peter Obi story. Obasanjo is also in the mix. And there are quite a lot of people who are not satisfied in both the APC and the PDP. P2B seems to be their player. Most of us, I even got a minister in the current Buhari administration whose son called me from Kaduna and said, Uncle, you know, we are doing P2B. I said, what? Your father is APC. You're talking like this. Then I recognized the humiliation of the president at the Eagle Square, in which he wasn't allowed to say who succeeds him. And that's still what I say is due to the prevarications of those around him who could not execute properly. You know, you say Amechi, then you say from Amechi, Goodluck couldn't get in, he slipped out, and they were now in a panic mode to bring in Ahmed Lawal, who, by the way, is now struggling to actually gain his seat. His seat at the Senate has been taken by someone who seemed not interested in giving it up. So that's a jeopardy. You can't be chasing two rights at the same time and be sure of catching any of them. The political process, I know there is a problem. Even us, I'm happy you are not discussing about the dilemma in finding who a running mate will be, because we knew in our party that there was that issue of running mates. We couldn't get a running mate easily because there are those who accuse the person that was being considered of having sold out, in their words, of their agreement at the Asaba Declaration in regards to a certain presidency. So that those with Governor Wike are insisting that they would not back anybody who backstabbed them. So we have a problem in the party. If Obi had to remain, it could have been an easier choice for us, but it's not right now.
But is it going to be an easy choice for Obi to also pick someone? Because he's obviously from the southeast, so he definitely has to pick somebody from the north. And who do you think would have that, wield that kind of power or relatability that would cut across not just the north, but all the way down south for Peter Obi?
I am aware that Governor Kwankwaso is being told to look beyond his strategy of grabbing Kanu, Jigawa, Katsina, Zamfara, and Sokoto, and think about a pan-Nigerian issue, where Kwankwaso has also now given a mandate, a position that, look, if you want me on the ticket, then allow me to take care of the entire 19 northern states. Provide me with the logistics to look after those 19 northern states, and I'm on the ticket. The stakeholders said that those logistics will not be a problem. It will be provided for him. And he says that's what he wants, so that he will have the free hands to actually deal with the 19 northern states. But I know Kwankwaso is a game changer. Why do I say this? He has previously said privately that he knows as Buhari goes away, that there will be no figure whom the Hausa population could follow, because the way they really didn't feel well, they now feel that if he can play the old American game by simply targeting Kanu, don't forget, for you to win an election, you need to look at Rivers, look at Kanu and Lagos. So if you can get Kanu in the mix, of course, Peter Obi, if he's on the ballot, Port Harcourt will be an easy place. The Port Harcourt, Aba, Owerri axis will be easy for him. That he gets. Kwankwaso brings Kanu, then the results are finished. That's why the PDP is in dilemma. The APC also sees the disruption. Nobody saw this coming, but then it is here, and we must deal with this disruption. It is real. The youth rebellion is real. It's not a joke.
Okay.
Forget about the stories about structure. We are frightened.
Okay. Let me go to Barrister Alogun. Hopefully, I think that we're able to stabilize his connection. Dr. Alogun, let's talk about the underdogs. And when I talk about the underdogs, I use the word loosely here. We're looking at the likes of Malik Ado Ibrahim, who has a strong surname. We also have Omoyele Sowore of the AAC. We have Adewale Adebayo of the SDP, Kola Abiola of the People's Redemption Party, and Hamza Al-Mustafa of the AA. These are the underdogs. Now, I remember last week, if not the upper week, when I spoke with Professor Patutomi, and he kept on insisting that there will be more mergers. I'm sorry, Dr. Catch. This question is for Dr. Logo. And we've seen many more mergers coming. He said that we will see more mergers. Do we see these other parties merging, maybe with the Labour Party or maybe with the NNPP? What do you think, Dr. Logo?
You know, when it comes to merging, at least that may not fly this time around. If you look at APC, that came up like an opposition party, they merged as far back as 2013 to form that opposition coalition. And that gave that was the sitting power then and unsat PDP. But look at the parties that are not so prominent now, just coming together about a year to the general election. And you must consider party structure. And that is why the discussion is basically between the two mega parties. And now Labour Party appears to be rolling out, from the angle. We use what happened at the primary as the sample for our research. Look at the pattern the voting went during the primaries. There were delegates from the East. Why did they not vote for the governor of Ebonyi State? There were delegates from other parts of the country. Even some candidates got 0 votes. So, and that should tell us that when it comes to Nigerian politics, it's all about those who will come most likely. Quite a number of these youth that are expected to come and express their concerns now may end up in clubhouses and wake up after the elections. And this we must understand about politicians. They have their structure. So these other parties, what structure profile do they have in the country? And you must have realized that in Nigeria, the adrenaline is so high when it comes to politicking. How many of these politicians could have stayed awake like they did during the primary? So for them, winning the next election is a desperate, is a secondary or postgraduate issue. And that is where my concern is. And that is why they are looking around now for those who can join them to ensure they win the election. After winning the election, what happens? That is our concern. After all, we all had very high expectations towards 2015 election, brilliant promises. But 7 years down the line, where are we?
Well, I think that we keep having this connection issues with you, Barrister Logo. Can you hear me now? Because you keep going in and out and we're unable to hear you.
Oh, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, we're having connection issues with you. Go ahead.
I just expect that this time around, those who are eligible to vote and have their PVCs will actually come out. And I have foreseen a situation where you may have PDP card carriers voting for a candidate in APC, APC card carrier voting for a candidate in the PDP party or any other party, because the concerns of the people now are in trifold. You talk about the economy, you talk about security, and you talk about restoring this country back to unity. And this...
Oh my goodness, apologies, Barrister Logo. Unfortunately, your internet is not friendly today and it's not letting us hear you. But quickly, I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Nyaitok and Dr. Catch, quickly in 30 seconds each. Barrister Logo has made a point that I jokingly made before we came on air. We see this momentum build up half the time before the elections. And then when we see the elections proper happen, we never see, that number of people come out to vote. We don't see that tsunami of voters. We do not see that pressure as we expected it. I mean, whether it be on social media, whether it be those events that are being hosted. I mean, we saw what happened in Lagos. It's revolutionary. But will we see that replicated at the polls? It's one thing to say we want this person. It's another to come out and vote for that person and make sure that vote counts. What do you see happening?
I think we should not be victims of poor history. Why do I say so? we need to understand that some things have shifted eternally with respect to our political processes. Why would I come out to vote when there's likely going to be vote buying and all that? Why will I come out to vote when there's going to be violence? Why will I come out to vote when I'm choosing between 6 and half a dozen and when my results don't really matter, the right results? It doesn't make sense for a reasonable young person to go out and try to vote. That's number one. Now, what is the difference today? Number one, the current Electoral Act makes it such that vote will count. That's a tick in the right direction. Second, for the first time, we are having people, before Kwankwaso stepped out, before Peter Obi stepped out, these are informed people, particularly Mr. Kwankwaso. They've looked at the current trend and they've projected into the future and they've realized that the dynamics are changing because of the current Electoral Act. So we're going to have very vibrant people. You know, one of the people that is going to be like a game changer is a man that nobody gave me a chance. And it's like, who is this? And that's Mr. Dumedu Kachiku at the ADC convention. People watch all night and they came up with all manner of theories and that they must have brought loads of dollars and this and that. Those, no, there are certain political strategies.
I mean, this is a conversation we have to have another day because you have 30 seconds. Because I'm this close to asking who's Dumebi Kachiku, but we will have that conversation another time because we don't have time. Dr. Ononoju, quickly, what do you assume or what do you see happening, you know, when the polls in itself comes to play? Because, like I said, and I do not want to be a pessimist, I'm optimistic, but then because of the history that we've had, how do we make sure that we trump that terrible history and make a brand new history for ourselves? Dr. Ononoju? Oh, I think we lost him. Dr. Ologun, are you there quickly in a few seconds? Can you help us answer that question before we wrap up? Unfortunately, we have run out of time and our guests are having connection issues, but I want to say thank you. Ezekiel Nyaito is a politician, and of course, Catch Ononoju and Jide Ologun are legal practitioners and political analysts. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Thank you. Well, that's it on this segment. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about what happened during the Ekiti rally for Segun Oni. We hear people were shot at, and of course, we will be having an SDP representative live in the studio with us to tell us about what transpired. Stay with us.
Nigeria's Niger Delta region, from where the black gold fuels Africa's largest economy, where the lines between wealth and poverty has never been thinner. Conflicts, poverty, insecurity, and environmental challenges daily confront the region. How can the Niger Delta story be changed for the better?
Join Mamude Akuga at 9 p.m. every Friday evening on Plus TV Africa as he probes deep in search of solutions.
Inside the Niger Delta with Mamude Akuga, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thoughts and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
It's still Plus Politics now. Thugs loaded in 5 buses reportedly attacked members of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, in Itaji, Ekiti, and Oye, Ekiti, in all Oye local government areas of Ekiti State. During the incident, the political thugs were said to shoot indiscriminately at the campaign rally venue of the SDP. The director of media and publicity of Segun Oni campaign organization, Jackson Adebayo, made the claim in a statement made available to journalists. Adebayo narrated that the thugs began to shoot when the SDP governorship candidate Segun Oni was addressing SDP members and supporters in Itaji town. He noted that 3 SDP members were shot and terribly wounded in Itaji, but one of the thugs was arrested by the party supporter who handed them over to the police. One thug confessed that they had been sent. At Oye, Adebayo alleged that the attackers shot 3 members of the SDP waiting for the arrival of Oni, who was due to address the party supporters in the town. Well, joining us to discuss this and shed more light is Lanre Ogunsuyi. He is the media director of Segun Oni campaign organization. Mr. Ogunsuyi, it's so good to have you join us.
Good evening, and good evening, viewers at home. It's nice to be here.
Great.
Although on a sad commentary, yeah.
The last time you and I had a conversation, we were talking about the fact that Mr. Oni had left to join the SDP and his reasons for joining the SDP. But there seems to be a lot happening around Mr. Oni, and I really want to hear from you firsthand. Why do you think that your principal is being targeted, or his party members are being targeted?
Yeah, there's no rational... Good evening once again. Good evening. There is no rational explanation for violence. But there are human beings who believe that when they are at their wits' end, they resort to wild, irrational, illogical actions, which sometimes borders on violence. Mr. Segun Oni is being targeted because of his acceptability by the people of Ekiti State. And don't let this surprise you. When you have a politician whose posters are being torn in town, it is because people are noticing those posters, they are reacting to those posters positively. If they know that you have no chance in an election, anywhere you put your posters, it will be safe. And that is the same thing that is happening everywhere we go. We are surprised by the magnitude of support, by the genuineness of affection shown by all, and the attestation to the good works he did just in 3 years and 10 months. For example, you get to a place you want to campaign, and people will say, don't bother to campaign. That road that you are standing on that you pass to this place was done by Mr. Segun Oni. you will see some 20, 18, 19 people, and you say, come and vote for Segun Oni. They say, don't bother. We were fed in primary schools with egg and tea during his regime. So it became a headache for the two other parties who were hitherto at head, APC and PDP were at each other's throats until Mr. Segun Oni shot in front. And then the two of them started attacking him from the rear.
I'm trying to understand. Are you insinuating, and sorry to speak over you, are you insinuating that the PDP and the APC are responsible for the attacks against the SDP and your principal?
That is not the first attack.
Really?
Yes, in their form. The youth leader of APC, of APC, shot at us. Several gunshots. We had to hurriedly leave that town. Because the Oba of Efon, we were in his palace, and the Oba said, there is no reason why we will not support you because of all the good works, I don't want to mention it here, that you have done. And when we were leaving the place, the campaign had already closed, and they started shooting. We identified him as the youth leader of APC in that local government. The people in the local government know him, and we reported to the police. The police claim they cannot get him, so he remained unarrested. In Ikere Ekiti, just as Mr. Segun Oni was leaving the palace of Olukere, we had to advise him that once you get out, get into your vehicle and zoom off. And they started throwing stones at his vehicle. Everyone that has listened to Mr. Segun Oni, both on national debate, in real life, knows that Mr. Segun Oni is a peace-loving human being. In fact, he is referred to in Ekiti as Dejo, meaning somebody who is not is unfazed. He doesn't steal money. He doesn't cut power. He doesn't. He's just an easygoing gentleman. So they say he's Dejo. He doesn't know how to go and hire thugs to shoot guns. Even some of our supporters are saying, you have to protect us. Violence merchants are all over the place. The cost of violence is cheap, but the effect of it is horrendous. So he will not go the way of violence. We've kept on reporting to the police. And here in Itaji, what the agreement we have is that when one party is doing a rally or a meeting, they did it in Ilogbo. Yes, they did it in Ilogbo. Ilogbo is in Ido-Osi local government. In his own local government, the APC people went to a ward meeting, dispersed them, beat everybody up, broke all the chairs in that place. So
I'm curious.
The violence
as much as I was not there, I'd really like to be clear because these are allegations. When you say the APC members, were they identified? Was the identity given to the police?
Yes.
Because when you say APC members came and beat up your members and dispersed their meetings.
Yes, it is easy to identify them because it is the natives they use. They pump them with all kinds. You know the way you can psych an idiot and he will just go to a place and start attacking people. It's in the afternoon. We saw them, we reported in the police station. We gave them names. So it's not like each time it happens, we go to the police station to report. Even the people that shot at us at Itaji, who fell off a moving bus, we still arrested him. Instead of lynching him, we still gave him to the police. Because we are people we are even surprised at the reception people are giving us. So we don't want to spoil that. We have immense goodwill. We don't want to squander it. And everywhere we go, they just make it an object of target. So they came. What is an APC lorry load of thugs doing in a PDP meeting, in an SDP meeting? If you have an SDP meeting, why don't you? We were not going to sleep in Oye. We just went there for a campaign that was to last for just about 45 minutes. We were not going to sleep there. So I can't understand. I can't situate why somebody will come all the way from Ado to come and attack that meeting.
I want to ask you what the security situation generally is like in Ekiti State, because I remember there has been, situations where other parties were having their events and there was shooting. So I'm asking you this because I want to try to narrow down why this is, because you're telling us that these are your detractors. But what is the security situation in Ekiti State generally? I mean, the elections are just around the corner.
In the last 48 hours, the security situation drastically changed because after Itaji, where one of them fell off the vehicle and was handed over to the police, who took them to the hospital. The drivers' union, who are the hatchet men of the APC, came out and protested against the, I don't know what they were protesting, it's irrational protest. They blocked everywhere and they started shooting. And then when security men came, they started attacking the security men. And now the security men, of course, nobody was good. Somebody even attempted to snatch the gun of a soldier. That's how much this I'm pumped up. In fact, we have an audio where somebody was saying that we went to report him to police, that can you report government to government? That when he got there, the commissioner of police said he should go away, that he has no case to answer, and that they should just wait, that they are going to kill about 5 people. And that once they kill 5 people, you will see that all the SDP members will run away. We have the audio. We are not talking about hearsay.
Okay.
We use technology. Engineer Sheguni is, you can't do anything these days without technology. So we tracked their phones and we got the audio.
Okay. Is that legal, by the way?
So they were arrested. So they were arrested yesterday. Some people were arrested yesterday. The main actors were arrested, and they were arrested with firearms, with a lot of firearms. We are talking of civilians. A special assistant to the governor of Ekiti State was arrested with firearms yesterday, and they were taken to Abuja. And as we speak, the governor is pulling all strings to ensure that they are released.
I want to quickly ask this question before we wrap up, because we don't have too much time. With just a few days to the elections, it's June 18th. The governorship elections is happening soon, and you're painting a terrible picture of how insecure and how unsafe the state is. How do you even expect voters to turn up en masse to vote if this is the security situation in the state? Again, should this not be a matter that all the governorship aspirants across the political parties should be having a conversation on, especially with the governor of the state? Because again, how safe will a voter feel to go out and vote if this is what the situation of things are? Especially because your principal is also running to be governor of the state. Yeah. That should be his priority, shouldn't it?
Let me tell you this. There is a conversation going on. The Ewi of Ado Ekiti, the paramount ruler here, has asked all the actors to come to his palace today for a peace meeting, and I think an agreement was reached that nobody. But let me say this about violent merchants. They are like mosquitoes. If you have 3 mosquitoes in a room and you can't kill them, it will look like the whole room is full of mosquitoes. Since yesterday, when the main actors were picked up, just about 4 of them, this state has been at peace. So we know those who are doing these things As for the governor of the state, he has abdicated responsibility for safety of lives and property in pursuit of his mirage presidential stuff. So if he comes back now and decides to ensure the safety of the state, then we will see the actions. We shouldn't be complaining to the Oba. We should complain to the governor, but the governor hasn't been above board. The governor has been a partisan. It is his responsibility to ensure that there is peace in the state. But even in all of this, he has not made one single speech. About 10 people have been shot, some have died, some are dying, and the governor has said nothing. So it speaks volumes for, you know, where the whole problem is coming from. But the people will come out to vote. The people have seen that their method will fail. They have even gone to buy lorry loads of canes. They said they will distribute these canes in each town and they will flog off the voters. But what they don't know is that the voting system has changed. You no longer can snatch ballot boxes. If you drive away voters, you cannot vote because the voting system, as demonstrated by INEC, requires biometrics. Okay. So if you stuff the boxes, it won't count at the end of the day. And that's what they are seeing. And they are so worried because they are not prepared for this election. They had 4 years to be in government, to impress, and we have just 4 months to form a party and run an election. Why are they worried?
Well, Mr. Ogunsuyi, we're hoping that the security situation in Ekiti State will change sometime soon. Why would a party that is just 4 months old worry a party that has been there for donkey years and has been in government for 4 years at all levels? Senate, reps, chairman of council, assembly members, commissioners, they have everything. We have to go, unfortunately. But we're hoping that the security situation can be dealt with or handled before the elections because it does have a huge role to play at the end of the day.
We are holding our men. Don't retaliate. Don't retaliate. Don't retaliate. You are in the majority. Ensure that the voting is done. Don't retaliate. That's all. We just want to vote. Well, we just want to vote.
Okay. And I hope that you're able to do that. Lanre Ogunsuyi is the media director of the Segun Oni campaign organization in Ekiti State. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
Please let me thank the good people of Ekiti State for standing by Segun Oni. Let me thank them for being peaceful. And let me warn the violent marshals. Some of them have just returned from prison. They are going back to prison.
Okay, we have to go. Thank you so much. Well, that's the show tonight. We will be back tomorrow talking for development and Plus Politics. If you have missed some bits of the program, go to our YouTube channel, Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle, and you can play catch up. I am Mary Anacombe. See you tomorrow. Have a good evening.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories, live here.
My name is Adeyemi Shoroye. Here is my good old days story. I was born in Ibadan to the family of Adekunle and Folashade Shoroye, both of blessed memory. I had my early childhood at Ayonide Street, Ekotedo, popularly known as Ekotedo Iyaolobe. Two things struck me about my good old days, which I will share here. First, my primary school was at St. Luke's Demonstration School, Molete, Ibadan. Ekotedo to Molete was quite some distance, but at a very tender age, I will follow my elder siblings from Ekotedo to Molete, hopping from one bus to another, sometimes trekking part of the distance till we reach Molete. No fear of kidnappings or molestation. In fact, safety was never an issue. Life was generally peaceful. We would leave home after a meal of hot rice, beans and dodo, bought from Iyatewo's makeshift canteen, the popular Mama Put seller down the road. Leave for school between 6:45 to 7 a.m. and after dropping from one bus to another, we would arrive school around 8:15 a.m. and the return journey would be equally peaceful. There were some days when we would spend part of the transport money and trek some parts of the journey. It was so enjoyable. Our parents didn't have to fear nor worry about our safety. Life was peaceful and safe. Those were the days of fountain pens with ink and blotting paper. I recall there were special holes in our desks where the ink containers were fixed. You must be an exceptional student to have come home daily without soiling your school uniform with inks. Those were days when teaching good handwriting meant a lot to our teachers. Today, text messages have taken over. The other thing that struck me about my good old days was the spirit of communal living. You see, in our house, we lived upstairs as landlords, and we had some Igbo families living downstairs as tenants, but you hardly tell who was a tenant's child or who was a landlord's child. We were all the same. In fact, some of the Igbos who were born about the same time as me spoke Yoruba fluently, to the extent that Stephen, my age mate, wrote Yoruba as a subject in his WAEC and passed with flying colors. Yes, there was no discrimination of any sort. We all lived together as a happy family, irrespective of tribe or tongue. On Saturdays, we would go to Scala Cinema in Sabo to watch mostly Indian and Chinese films. Sabo, the Hausa community in Ibadan, is a short trekkable distance from Ekotedo, where I equally made some friends among those Hausa children of my age group, majority of whom we are still friends till today. What a glorious childhood. Can Nigeria still go back to that old days when our children will be safe on their own and we don't need to worry about child kidnappings or molestation? Can Nigeria still go back to that old days where tribe and tongue will be inconsequential? Can Nigeria still go back to those wonderful days when you were not defined by religion or religious affiliations? Can Nigeria still be a nation where merit is more valued as a determinant to your success than your place of birth? Yes, our nation can still rise above those primordial sentiments. We can. I believe with good governance, those days will come again. As I round up, strongly resonating in my mind is our first national anthem, which said, "Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand." We can still recreate a nation where Nigerians all will be proud to serve our sovereign motherland. I am a believer. To this end, I join Sir Shemore Badejo in this collective drive towards a greater tomorrow. Thank you very much and God bless.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Usayo Mesale. Happy Democracy Day, ladies.
Hello.
And I have finally back on set our Honorable Milola, Damilola Otubanjo.
What's up?
Oh my goodness, it's been ages.
Yes.
Now we actually did miss you.
We missed you, Milola. I miss my ladies.
So tell us, how has it been since after the primaries and all of that?
We had the primaries. It was some experience, you know. But when you go on that kind of journey, you're able to understand what's going on better than a lot of people that are speculating.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I discovered about that life is hope is a bad thing. Hope is a bad thing.
Hope is not a strategy.
Hope is a bad thing. A lot of people have hope. They don't have understanding. The hope that someday something is going to change. The belief that somehow things are going to get better. If you do not understand the fact, if you don't understand the situation, you can keep hoping till you pass out, till you literally die. And you know, you go into a meeting, you hear an outcome, you go out, you hear people have hope. And sometimes you don't want to dash their hope and just smile. Say, it's going to be fine. Well, you know that
it's not going to be fine.
It was an experience for me. I learned a lot, and I'm grateful I did take that bold step.
It is a big step.
I have no regret.
And the good thing about it is that, you see, when you try things like that, you are never back to square one. So you are like 10 times.
You have the experience, you have the platform.
Sometimes it depends on how you process it and what you do afterwards. If you run back out of the race, out of disappointments, you can go back to square one.
Yeah.
You can go back to square one.
Sure.
But if you understand that it's not personal, it has nothing to do with what I can do or what I did not do right. It's just the way the system is.
You know, you're just trying to serve.
Yes, and you know that it will take time before people catch on you. And change is not something that a lot of people embrace, even though we say so much about we want change. We really are not prepared for change.
Absolutely.
Sure.
How are you, Manny?
I'm
what did
fine.
you do today?
Today, I worked. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did work. Prepared agreements, and no, I'm a business owner. I'm not waiting for someone to pay me a salary at the end of the month. I have to make it. So I worked. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm so glad I have you on my team. You mess with me, I sue your ass.
Please call me.
Lola, you're back.
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Democracy is not an easy form of government because it is never final. It is a living, changing organism with a continuous shifting and adjusting of balance between individual freedom and general order. Right? That's the quote for today. We're asking the question, how have we fared? You know, can we say that our democracy is a success in Nigeria? Now, the core of democracy is the principle of popular sovereignty, which holds that government can be legitimated only by the will of those whom it governs, although the current political reality of the country may beg to differ. So yesterday, June 12, was Democracy Day, and today, Milola, Manny, and I are here to discuss the topic. Has democracy succeeded in Nigeria? We'll do that, but first, let's take a break to see what we found in the news. All right, so International Albinism Awareness Day is marked every year on the 13th of June to bring awareness among the people about albinism and the rights of people with albinism. Abi, that's it. different types of events are organized to educate people and celebrate people with albinism who still face human rights violations in the mid-2000s. There were reports of violent attack and murders of people with albinism in Tanzania. The attacks were advocated with the belief that people with albinism possess magical powers. As a result, in 2015, 70 people were killed and even more were harmed. Now, due to this, the Tanzania Albinism Society and other NGOs came together to lobby for the rights of people with albinism. Now, the day first became official when the UN General Assembly adopted a resolution in 18th of December 2014 that proclaimed 13th of June as International Albinism Awareness Day with effect from 2015. Whew. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people. So I had a friend in secondary school, a classmate, I'll call her. She was completely black. Her sister was completely white, you know. You know, we had a lot of those people in families, you know, but I don't know. It seems to be prevalent in certain demography, like, you know, the Yoruba people.
I don't think so.
Right?
I think it's
all tribes,
yeah,
right? But I've hardly seen any. Yes, but yes.
You don't even find it anywhere. It just brings up someone just.
Yeah.
Have a baby
I
and
think
a child.
what they say is it skips generations.
Yeah.
Yes, and then just appears. One of my very good friends still now is an albino, and he's very, very good.
But the only good thing, the only thing I always say to them, please protect your skin. Wear loads of sunscreens because again, a lot of them suffer from skin cancer.
Yeah.
I remember one of my friends, family friends, he passed on, you know, as a result of skin cancer. So because because they don't have any form of melanin or whatever, so no protection,
no top layer,
no top layer. So you have to actually. That's why a lot of them avoid the sun. So when you see them start to have patches in all those, is
because
the
of the
effect. So
sun.
I think,
So that means it's even better to just leave Nigeria altogether.
Yeah, or stay away from there. Just, stay away. It's okay, so who are we starting with? Milola, what did you find for us in the news?
Okay, let me jump
Why don't you welcome back?
Welcome back, welcome back. Okay. What I have in the news is about today's situation, and it goes to talk about power. Blackout as national grid collapses for the 6th time in 2022. What month are we in again? May.
June.
So we've had like an average of 1 timeout collapse a month this year. It's quite sad. Considering the state of the economy, considering the size of our economy, it is not acceptable to find ourselves having such a situation, but this is what we found in the news. And this is from the Just Disco. Dear esteemed customers, the management of Just Electricity Distribution PLC wishes to inform the general public that the current outage being witnessed as a result of system collapse. We hope to restore supply as soon as supply is restored. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation.
So does this explain?
It doesn't explain
I saw an animation today. I was wondering what was it, but I didn't even have the patience to read it. I saw, how you do skipping rope, where somebody will be at the other end and I will be at the other end.
And then
you're
looping.
Yeah.
So what the animated image was one. Let them put up that picture. What do they call the mast?
Okay.
One mast of the power line and another mast of the power line. They were looping the cable, and while another one was dancing and jumping in the middle. So now I understand what happened.
So that means there's no life.
Nothing. It becomes a playground for children.
Oh, wow. I saw that. I was wondering why did they do this? So now I understand it.
Now, one thing I do not understand is every state have their distribution companies. And this letter is from Just Disco. I wonder how it affects Lagos particularly, because since last night we've not had a win.
You really think it
because there's
affected
a
Lagos?
connection. Because if it's the transmission company, I can understand. If the distribution companies has a power outage, there's something wrong. Is that we're not getting the correct information as to the state of the light or what is really responsible? Because once the transmission networks is active, it is only the particular disco that serves a particular area that should be affected. It's not something that is supposed to spread across the entire country.
We'll need to see.
So for me, I think our problem is we lack accountability and the right information that is being put in the public space. And because a lot of the time Nigerians just pass this thing information over and they never question them.
So yeah, I think
it doesn't make sense.
I have a few friends in the Ministry of Power. It now would be the right time to actually, because this is actually alarming. So if you say in 6 months, it means that every single why must we have
power?
So that means there's a problem. Do you know what the problem is? Are you trying to fix
solve
the problem?
Yes, absolutely.
So normally nothing happens in Nigeria. We will still have a 9th one in September and a 10th one in October.
Absolutely. All right, so Manny, your story, please.
No PVC, no church.
Wow.
Yes, seriously? I like that.
You want to call for your video quickly?
Yes. Is there a video? I think there's a picture. Yeah, so a Catholic priest sends back members without PVCs. A video has gone viral on social media showing a Catholic priest asking members without their PVCs to return home. The video has been shared by multiple Twitter and YouTube users, although the details remain sketchy as to where and when the occurrence took place. I think we already know where and where. It was in Jos. Yes, Plateau. The Catholic priest in the video was seen at the entrance admonishing members of the church that henceforth persons who want to partake in Mass must have their PVC on them, and if they do not have, they should not even bother coming to church.
Wow.
So this occurrence has stirred both negative and positive reactions from Nigerians. Some have hailed the Catholic priest for his effort in ensuing voter awareness and sensitizing his community to the ongoing political process ahead of the 2023 general elections, while some have chastised him for doing such in a place of worship, accusing him of contravening the human right to freedom of association of the congregation. So what do you girls think? Did he do good or bad? Okay, let me read the last part, the most recent news. However, in a statement released, The Director of Communications of the Diocese, Reverend Father Andrew Diwan Danjuma, stated that the action of the priest does not have the approval of the bishop, nor is it a policy of the diocese. The statement adds that the action of the bishop stance is regretted.
So it's a disclaimer.
So what do you think? So
yes.
for me, I've said it. I don't know how many million times I will say it. I will keep on saying it. Even what the priest is doing, yes, it's a good start, but it is already too late. I mean, Damilola can testify to it. If she had cerebral minds as delegates at her primaries, we would not be speaking this English. By now, she'll be planning to win an election.
Yeah, but,
right?
but you know that the delegates have succeeded in handing us these people. But are you trying to say it's too late at this point?
At this junction of saying, so
yeah,
because guess what? We are going back to square one where we are always going to choose between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Yeah, but
I like the awareness.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to everybody that cares to listen, this is not, and I'm not even about 2023. I'm focusing on 2027 and beyond.
Thank you.
Can we start to advocate that before you enter the church, produce your, what's it called? Party card.
So your support party card.
Party card.
Okay.
Produce your, it is not about the PVC right now.
PVC
right?
is
PVC is good. It is overrated.
Trust me, people do not know that your PVC is not as important as your understanding of the political system that we operate
Thank you.
and our desire to participate. A lot of people, I see people clamoring for PVC, and I say, is it really about PVC? People can take PVC, but will they go out and vote?
It is, see, even if they go out to vote,
are they aware if their level of participation has any meaningful or significant impact to the electoral process? For me, it's beyond PVC. I saw a post by one of our lady on social media, really agitating and everything. I said, if I'd never stepped out of the box
you wouldn't
to
know.
go into politics, I would not understand what is going on. And just like when you said the delegates have given us people, the delegate did not give us anything. The people that picked the delegates gave us the people that took picked the ticket. So I found out real
hand experience
that primaries is a selection process. It's not an election. The party, the government, the people, the key decision makers decides who gets a ticket. So even the delegates are just running an errand. They're just following instructions.
So it actually starts from the ward.
The power is not even entirely in the hands of the delegates. So when you do not understand how interlocked this thing is, you will start to address the fruits when really we should go down to the roots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On that note, we leave it there. So I've said this, the politician has said it. So my story is from the desk of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Okay.
And he says our democracy in the country is growing. You know, so he made reference to this while he was giving a speech represented by his boss Mustafa, right? The Secretary to the Federation. He was represented at the speech where he was giving an interdenominational church service in Abuja. He stated this, and according to him, Nigeria rose to the occasion where colonial powers subjugated the people and lorded over the resources. He said Nigerians rose to the occasion following the ravages of civil war to rebuild a country, no matter how imperfect. He said that we rose to the occasion when enduring military dictatorship pushed us to the edge of extinction and negotiated our way into a democracy that provides a platform for us to build a country we can all be proud of. And he said that, you know, the 2015 was the first time a sitting president will be in power, and, you know, there will be a successful transfer of power without any rancor. And again, he also mentioned the just concluded primaries, that, you know, the fact that we are, you know, we ran primaries and they were not court cases and all of those things flying all over the place. It tells us that our democracy is growing, you know. So he says our democracy was hard won by Nigerians from the trenches of the 6 geopolitical zones. Our struggles for a better country was always been detribalized. So he says it is important to note that our commemoration of Democracy Day was recently moved, again, by this same administration from May 29th to June 12th in honor of the political leaders that fought, you know, from the South. So, I like it.
Is our democracy really growing?
That's why I took this story. So democracy works all the more so in a heterogeneous union like ours, through negotiations and compromises carried out in good faith, and each year brings us closer to a more perfect union, a more mature democracy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask that question again. Have we had a successful run when it comes to democracy? And that's the conversation we're going to be having when we come back from the break. Stay with us. All right, thanks for staying with us. Many forms of government have been tried and will be tried in this world of sin and woe. No one pretends that democracy is perfect or all-wise. Indeed, it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government, except all those other forms that have been tried from time to time. This was a quote by Winston Churchill. Now, according to an online publication, in the Nigerian context, democracy is something much talked about, a set objective pursued with apparent vigor, but not yet attained. Now, for almost half a country, almost half a century, Nigerians have been searching for democracy through constitutional reforms and intricate political engineering and experimentation spelled out in successful or successive transition programs. Now, they have, however, been continuously disappointed because, according to John Gardner, in a quote he said, or Gardner, he says, democracy is measured not by its leaders doing extraordinary things, but by its citizens doing things extraordinarily well. Now, do the citizens really matter in all of these things? So today we want to hear what you have to say about our democracy in Nigeria. Do you think it has succeeded? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WaveShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. So this is actually interesting. Now, why I particularly took the story about the Vice President saying that our democracy is growing was based on the topic that we're having today, asking if our democracy has succeeded, right? So, so he made a lot of statements, the parameters he used, you know, how successful government, you know, I mean, there was a president in power, and there was successful overturn of that party, and there was no rancor, peaceful transitioning. You know, he talked about that in the last couple of weeks, primaries have been held by political parties, big and small, across the country without violence, rancor, or prevalence of bitter court cases, as have characterized the process in the times past, right? So he says we are growing. And he said the social contract between government and the people with the ballot arbiters is daily being strengthened. So he's trying to also give credit to the power of the thumb and the electorate and all of that. So the combined effort of the government, the people, and civil society across federations are bringing us closer to our highest democratic ideas and aspirations. So this is a day for gratitude and hope, a day to remind ourselves that what was once thought impossible of Nigeria has been proven possible, and that what is yet considered so is well within our grasp. Now, he said we only have to keep moving forward, each one of us playing our parts, he added. Now, so I went on Google and I searched what are the parameters that can tell you that a democracy is successful, right? Now, he says some important factors are these, which are responsible for success of process of democracy. It says election. It is the fundamental basis of democracy. It says political freedom, right? It says education. It says development of means of communication, independent judiciary, accountable administration. Now, freedom to form political parties. If I were to go by these parameters, I beg to...
Because for me, we are here on the show to share our knowledge and also to learn from one another. I didn't have the pleasure of doing that research that you did, and it's very enlightening to see the angle with which you're bringing to this point. The Vice President, I have a huge respect for him, and I salute his courage for throwing his hat in the ring to run for the role of a president, irrespective of other people's opinion. For me, primaries happened before primaries actually happened.
Talking from experience.
That's why you can say we had a stress-free, itch-free, violence-free primaries, because before our primaries, the presidential primaries was actually conducted, they had to move it like 2 or 3 times. And that is to ensure that there's some level of control and understanding of the outcome. It wasn't even about the consensus.
The outcome.
Of the outcome of that election. And for me, for the first time, I was on the field. It was an experience for me. I actually witnessed a primaries that is not like a usual primary. Yes, yes. I can say that with every sense of sincerity, not as a politician, but as an independent observer who took the trouble to say, let me go and see what we're doing. Unlike the last one we had, when it was the chairmanship, everybody knew it was a consensus. It was just fulfilling righteousness. But this primary actually was an experience. But I'm saying this to say that we have a successful election is one of the things that you mentioned in the criteria for a democratic country. It is beyond that. You mentioned education, you mentioned accountability. If we have to use expression, freedom of
to form political parties,
if we have to use those parameters, I'm afraid we have not been successful as a country when it comes to democracy. And I do not think, personally, we need democracy. Personal opinion.
Okay, we'll come back to that because again, I wish Uti was able to make it to the year because you know Uti has always said that we do not need democracy. We need something in between military and democracy.
Yes.
So the way democracy is structured and where we are as a people, we are not ready.
We're not prepared for
how democracy should be practiced. But let me hear your thoughts, your initial thoughts, based on the parameters that I read, right? Because you want me to come back on it again?
No,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
It's okay. See, for me, I'm going to define what the dictionary says democracy. So I do not think that democracy has succeeded in Nigeria in the context of what democracy really is. The dictionary says is a system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected reps. So for me, I would say it's supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Absolutely.
Is that what we have? Absolutely no. So if that is not, it's not for the people.
I don't think so. Reason being that if you fail to perform your duty, you do not blame another person for making a decision.
Yes. So
our people are in time past neglected their civic duties and responsibility. And they keep crying wolf that government are subserving them. When we were talking about this PVC conversation, trust me, a lot of Nigerians are not even aware of what their roles, their boundaries, the constituency they belong in.
But guess what?
It's not about democracy not happening because some people are not making it happen. It's because the people are not responsible and not responsive.
I would not say that.
Okay. Can I have you punch your argument?
Wait, you will come in. But you know, see, Milola, you know why I say that.
Okay.
At the end of the day, how old is Nigeria? Come on. How old is the US? So we are trying. Yes, no, it's valid. Like you said. Yes. So I'm going to get back to that in between. I think in between makes a lot of sense until we are ready because it's a journey. But right now, I think there's still room for growth, no doubt. You know, we're talking about it with Uti the other time, and we're talking about how these politics work in other parts of the world, especially in the UK. People die, they kill the whole generation. It's brutal. So I think that we are still growing, especially in Nigeria, it's known as a very corrupt nation. So you must see one or two, corrupt practices. But I think that we are not yet mature. We are getting there. We are copying the US system.
Verbatim. And it's
How
supposed to be
old is the US system?
Over 200 years.
Thank you. How old is Nigeria?
Yeah, 60.
So I think that what we need is, like you said, it's supposed to be for the people, by the people, a government of the people. Now, who are the people? The people need to know that they are part of this thing. What we are doing right now is we are sensitizing people. So the Reverend Father, that just said no PVC, no church. Do you know what he's doing? He's sensitizing the public.
He's not doing it the right way.
He might not be. No. I don't think he's doing it the right way. He might not be doing it the right way. But let me tell you something. he has created awareness, whether you like it or not.
So
it doesn't work.
I want to
How do you
punch
measure?
no, I want to
For
punch
me,
a hole
action
on your
without
argument.
result is a
So let me
effort
punch
in
a hole on
futility.
your argument, Milola, where you said that the people neglected what it is that they're supposed to do, you know, when you were talking about the people. So in other climes, from a toddler, as soon as you are 2 years old,
educated.
So that part of education, when I was listing the parameters.
Do we not have government courses in school?
No, hold on.
No, we do not.
Do we not have
I did not.
Do we not have history?
I did not.
So let me explain something to you.
Okay.
A responsible government would educate her people.
Inculcate
it
in
into
the plan.
First of all, when you go abroad, when you are abroad, they look forward to turning 18 because they know
it's their right
that
to
time,
vote.
I am excited about it, and I'm going to get my voters, authority to be able to vote for any government, right? So if you as a government, you have not educated, and that's why I beg to disagree with the what's it called? The vice president. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. No, I know, even the vice president, okay. I also disagree with the fact that you say Nigerians have neglected.
Yes.
They do not know. Ignorance.
Ignorance is bliss.
The amount of ignorance that is playing out, even older people. Let me tell you something. You said it is because you entered the field. You began to see firsthand.
So you know things that we don't know.
You remember, Manny, I was saying on this table that I didn't even understand, even when we brought in experts to explain the delegate system, I still did not understand what it meant until I was observing your elections, observing everybody's elections.
And whose responsibility is that?
So hold on, that's what I'm saying.
We've gotten to the, see, it's,
is that the government's responsibility?
Yes, it's the government.
Is it the school's responsibility? We need to put this responsibility in the right quarters. If not, we're having cross-cutting issues.
Let me
and we'll be passing
which
the
is
buck
what
of
we are
fault
doing now.
From one person to
so
the
that
other.
is what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Who is in charge of the school curriculum?
Thank you.
That says that it must be mandatory that a child from 2 as soon as they're in nursery 1,
yes,
you should start getting to understand
politics.
Thank you, but the basics of governance, the basics of politics. But you see, we do not have that. Now, my sister that is supposed to be like an outsider, would I call it, because she's married, she's Nigerian, but she's married to a foreigner. When she was going to get her, what's it called? Her red passport, what do they call that thing? She was mandated to read the history, she was mandated. So we are not all about that.
We just carried out the NIN exercise in Nigeria. So many people still have their numbers bad up till today. Guess what?
Inclusive.
Do you know that yours inclusive, right?
Yes.
Do you know that if the government says before you get your NIN, you have to get your PVC card, you have to join a party and get a party card or be a party.
You can't force people to join
See, let me tell you, PVC. Okay, fine. If you say let's give out the party card, but at least the PVC, you must have a PVC. So your PVC should be linked to your NIN. It's a no-brainer. Yes.
I think we're a reactive people instead of being a proactive people.
So what's your suggestion for proactivity?
I believe we tend to react when there's an outcome.
Yes.
We do not plan for a government. We do not understand the structure. Everything has a structure and it has a path with which it follows. Yes, the government is supposed to enable people to have a democratic system. And one of the ways to do that is to educate people. You read it when you were giving us the point.
Yeah.
And it goes down to whose responsibility, who is going to bear this cut. We need to separate the issues and not join them and say, okay, the government has failed because the people are not allowed. You cannot force people to join party. It's a choice.
Okay. But
you cannot force people to have a PVC. It's a choice.
It's supposed to be a national responsibility.
Yes, but it's a choice. You choose to go to school. The government can provide an enabling environment, free education, whatever institution they put in place. You still reserve the right to say, I want to go to school, I want to go to the farm. You don't force things. What you want to do is to make it an enabling environment, to make sure that the system works in such a way. Are you reading a quote for?
Go ahead.
To make sure that the system works in such a way that people are enlightened enough
to
make an informed decision. Because really, I think that when we look at all of these issues, we normally jump on conversation that trends, and then we start to attack it, and then we start to address it. There's a lot. This thing is a cacophony of issues. They're all interconnected and before you can start to fix it, first of all, get separated from it. One of the things that I try to do in life is to practice detachment. Step away from the issue. It's always very hot on. When you are very hot on, you are entangled with the situation and you are biased. You want to first of all step away. How did we get here? We need to go back to the drawing board. Whether we're using the democratic system of government or we're going back to the military, we need to understand the fundamentals.
We can't go back to the military.
And you have to. The same thinking that has brought us this far has created some problem that this level of thinking cannot solve. This is about Einstein. We cannot continue to address, attack, complain, and not do anything about this
While I
system.
like what you're saying, I also still think it's the responsibility of the government to sensitize the people in politics.
I say to you again, my darling sister, we are a blame-pushing
So
individual.
I am passionate, yes, I agree, but I'm not biased, right?
No, I did not
but
say that. I
let's
said
take
you
a break.
tend to be,
Let me take a break because I will come back to read the parameters, and that's where my conversation is coming from.
Okay.
Because
Do we have
if
any
you,
comment from
so
anybody
my
about
child
you?
was my son was 2 years old when he was taken to his school. I was trying to transfer him to a new school to go and write an entrance exam, and he went there, and they came back and said, oh, he didn't pass, that he failed, but his brother did so well, because the brother was going to year 1, he was going to nursery 1. But the brother did so well, and usually, let me finish. You would understand where I'm coming from. That he was going to, the brother was going to year 1, he was going to nursery 1, that he didn't pass, that he failed. So that, but their policy in the school is that siblings must be together. So because of his older brother, and he did excellently well, they have to take him, but he has to come back to write the exam again. He came back the second time and wrote the exam. He failed again.
So now what?
Wait now, let me finish. He failed again.
Nursery 1.
Nursery 1, no. He was supposed to write 1 to 10.
Well, which school is that?
That's
nursery 1. That's a very bad school.
Wait, no, it's not a bad school. It's not a bad school.
How can a nursery 1 come?
Let me finish.
You
are taking
bad teachers are that.
You're taking the attention from the conversation. Listen.
Okay, sorry.
So when he eventually, I went and I met him. I said, what's happening? That you didn't write? He said, because nobody has taught me. I do not know.
Aww.
So the point is, immediately he entered the school, they had already told me that I would need to work with him, work with the teachers. Do you know, I never went back to the teacher to say, is there a problem? Because as soon as he was exposed to the learnings, he adapted immediately. So it's the same issue. Do you understand? When I see people blaming Nigerians to say that they do not know, you haven't explained to these Nigerians the importance of their citizenship, the role of the citizen. So how do you expect them to win?
Do you know that Nigerians don't even know their rights as citizens? Do you know that Nigerians don't even know what a citizen is, who a citzen is? Oh, Milola, let's not even look at...
When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us.
Wow.
All right, thanks for staying with us. This is 2 women today. Somebody has said your noise is too much. Talk one at a time. So let's calm down, please. So if you just tuned in, right? Our topic today is we're asking a question that has democracy succeeded in Nigeria? That's the question. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. We have a lot of messages, but we'll take them much later. So, I mean, that's the conversation. So you were talking about citizens not knowing their rights and all of that.
Yes, not knowing their rights and all that. So there's a bigger problem. So when we talk about politics, let me tell you the truth. How old am I? I'm old enough.
Well, over 40.
Milola, step aside. Let's go outside. Okay, so what I'm saying is, when did I start getting interested in politics? Only recently. Honestly, I would say, yes, only recently, and I'm well educated. So I just think that, like you said, there has to be an interest and understanding. So sometimes we tend to not go close to areas that we don't understand.
And I'm telling Milola that interest and understanding comes
from knowledge.
No, it even comes from when the government makes it, the pride that an American will tell you that I'm an American. Yes. Yeah. So the government must make it. See, they are deliberately keeping Nigerians ignorant when it comes to political matters. So a government that is transparent, let me finish, a government that is transparent will know that it is important. See, because they thrive. Let me finish. Let me finish. They thrive on the ignorance of the citizens.
Yes.
Right? It is based on ignorance
And
that all of these things that you're talking about will happen.
They want to keep them
so
uneducated,
if a government was really
uninterested,
thank you. If a government
discouraged,
thank you. If a government was really sincere, right, about a proper democracy and governance, good governance, the government will make it mandatory that you know it right from a toddler.
Yes.
And put it and inculcate it in the curriculum.
Take it easy.
I would never take away the fact that our government has failed us and continue to fail us perpetually.
Absolutely.
I would never fail the fact that the institutions that should channel and endear people towards learning and interested in politics has not been adequately established. There is no doubt that the challenges that plague us are synonymous with third world country. For me, we need to go back to that.
Yeah.
We should stop comparing apple with oranges. Yes, we need to look at people that are doing better than us to be able to inspire us to do better.
Absolutely.
But we need to also look at the peculiarity of our climb and identify where did we go wrong and what are the challenges and how can we fix this thing. The government is not doing it. In fact, the governors have not done nothing. But you know, sometimes when I look at it and say, we address government as if they're an external party. Government emanated from us.
Absolutely.
We are the government. You know somebody in government, I know somebody in government. Unfortunately or fortunately, I'm putting myself into politicking, which means I'm also a government or in government. So it then goes back to collective responsibility.
Yeah.
I believe that the government should do this and do that and do that and do that and do that. But a tree does not make a forest. It's not something that one institution should be allowed to. When we look at the families, what are we doing about teaching our children, It was only until I took interest in politicking that my daughter starts to understand what path I have followed. And for me, it is important that I live my life in such a way that every aspect of my life is a learning curve for me and for the people that are in my immediate space, particularly my two daughters. Now, because of my interest in politics, I took it upon myself to start to enlighten them. If I did not take up that civic responsibility, it is not government responsibility. It is my responsibility.
No,
to take ownership. Babes, please.
Let
me say this. It's still in this same country.
You say that because
still,
you know enough to
no,
say
ma,
that.
No, ma. It's still in this same country. It's still the same failed system. It's still the same corrupt system that I came out from. But I choose.
When did you get interested in politics?
From time immemorial. From the time I was in uni.
What
if
did
you
you-
ever
what
go
did-
and
what
check,
did
see,
you know
babes,
about
if
it
you
then?
ever go and check, there's something I put out there. I said I want to be the first female president. And I said this, and I'm not joking, and I said this when I was just in my 200 level. It is maybe it emanates from a place that is deeper than I can explain.
Probably.
But it is a personal choice. Still a product of this failed system. But I took the responsibility to say that I would try. If I perish, I perish.
Okay, so let's take some comments because this is quite getting interesting.
It's an interesting,
very interesting.
Okay, good evening, ladies. Milola's tone has changed. After running from Abuja,
thank you.
She may have to. She may have been spending from the inner caucus funds of the political parties. No, he's only joking.
I
from
can
the UK.
say that I
She's
got
shining.
nothing. I appreciate that. And it is fine that you hold that thought. But you know, we all have to take the responsibility of self-enlightenment. And that's why if I have a bias or a different angle to conversation, it's so that we can enrich our understanding. We all can't be going in the same direction.
No.
Sometimes when I watch the show, I wish I'm on the show. I say, hey, by the time I bring my own angle, it will be a totally different conversation.
Right. So
and it goes to say that I'm not defending government. I expect we to be more responsive.
I think
individuals.
it's because of your experience, Milola. We shouldn't put that aside, please.
Okay.
It's your experience. You've gone in, you've seen how it works. You now see how important the people are. Hence, my statement that government is for the people, by the people. You understand? So if we want to talk about politics, there are a lot of things, or democracy. When you look at, it's supposed to be a level playing ground for everybody, right? Yes. But look at the amount of money that is spent.
Let me continue. Let me continue my parameters.
Let
me continue my parameters. Independent judiciary. Have we had that?
No.
Thank you. So I'm not being sentimental or biased.
Read the first one. Let's say yes and no, so that we know how.
So election. It is the fundamental basis of democracy. We conduct elections. So let's give it to them. Political freedom, do we have that? No.
Relatively, yeah.
We don't.
I would say no, because before I came on show, someone sent a family member sent a message, and she's watching me right now. She said, please don't let people know who you support for security purposes. So, of course, I would say there is no political freedom.
Thank you. Okay, education, no. Development of means of communication, our government.
Not adequate.
Thank you. Independent judiciary, no. Accountable administration, no.
Zero.
Freedom to form political parties,
no.
No. There are a lot of political parties. Come on, ladies.
There are a lot of political parties, but there were also cases of where people said that
they wanted
to form parties,
and they were like, no.
No, we can't take that.
Okay, that's half.
So let's give it to them. Yes. Half, right? So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points, they only have 2.
Wow.
3.
Come on.
So how is democracy supposed to thrive in Africa?
So let me read the comment that says,
babe, where I say we are not ready for democracy.
We're not ready. Yeah.
So yes, the democracy is successful in Nigeria. I don't want to remember the devilish years of Sani Abacha. He has destroyed Nigeria. I don't know what your name is, but thank you for your comments. Let's take more comments, ladies.
Okay, let me check what I have. Okay, can I go?
Okay, go.
Good evening, ladies, and happy Democracy Day. Have we, as a nation, succeeded in democracy? I think we're still far from having an ideal one. We need to improve on the process of selection of candidates, campaign, voting, and governance. The legislature, executive, and judiciary should be truly independent. I was saddened that nobody queried the governors, how they got fund they wasted before presidential primaries. We'll succeed when elected leaders are responsible and accountable. Thank you so much, BC.
Thank you, BC.
That was very spot on.
Absolutely. Money.
Riveting. Oh. So, okay, mine says, greetings, ladies. Milola, reverse statement. Hope without understanding is almost a mirage. Thank you.
Thank you.
So someone says, it is only elite people, especially Lagosians like you people, that failed to understand democracy. Ask any Hausa man. He will explain what it is, I think he's supposed to say. We should stop blaming the government for ignorance. I beg to differ.
I agree partially.
I beg to differ.
I agree partially.
Let me give Manny your friend's comment. So, I beg to differ, right? So this is not a fun. I get it that when it comes to northerners, stop any northerner on the road today. They have their PVC. They are ready for elections.
Is it because they're enlightened?
Hold on.
Or because they are instructed?
That's my point.
Yeah, they're programmed.
So you can't come out and tell me that it is only us Lagosians that are responsibility. It's not. It is the government's responsibility. Sure. Now, you have a PVC. You saw the votes. They could not read and write. I mean, we're having Dayo Olani.
What to do.
They were not even telling them. They were helping them to write it. True. They would just return it back to them and they put it in the ballot box. Is that what you call an election?
No.
Where somebody, you cannot even read or write. You don't know anything.
You don't even know anything. You don't know the
name of the person you want to vote for.
You don't.
Is it bad that you cannot write the name of the person?
No, you don't get it. Okay. You don't get it. It's not about whether you bad or not bad.
We didn't hear them choosing.
You understand? It's not choosing. This person just comes and they hand you
a written
thing and you submit it. So is that what you tell me that is democracy?
That's
horrible, right? I mean, what's her name? Dayo. A political senatorial aspirant. What's her name? Dayo Olani.
An aspirant.
An aspirant. They came out to say that even the people that they eventually picked as the delegate, that they were supposed to be the rightful delegates,
they changed the list.
They changed the list.
You are joking.
Yes, they changed the list. And that's how, I mean, we are going to have her, by God's grace, next week, Monday. They changed the list.
Oh, she's coming on the show.
Do you understand? So what I am saying is, you cannot tell me that because you guys have a PVC means that you are not ignorant. You are completely ignorant.
Exactly.
You are ignorant.
It's not about PVC.
It's not about PVC.
It's about education. And the government is supposed to provide an enabling environment for adequate education, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so the part where I agree with me, Lola, is that, okay, we know that these delegates are chosen at the ward state, right?
What level?
Ward level.
Yeah.
So we as citizens are supposed to participate in this.
At different
local
governments at the ward level.
Okay, so Milola, if we participate, you just said that they changed the list.
No. The quality of minds of people present at ward level
agree.
is easily.
I agree.
Is easy to manipulate.
I agree.
See, I say that before you can participate in an election, you have to be how old again? 18 years.
18
which
years.
means on an average you should be in university.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the fact that Nigerians need to be more responsible. I still stand on that point that we can't keep passing the entire buck and say it's just entirely government.
So it also goes back to the fact that government must ensure free education for all so that the masses will be educated.
I mean, come on, free education does not guarantee quality education.
Milola, let me tell you something.
Education first.
Let me tell you something. It is only someone that has been wooed, I've been toasting you from when you were a child, giving you the possibilities of what your thumb can do, right? That you will look forward to going to get a PVC once you turn 18.
Do you know one thing?
If you have not given me the picture, you've not painted the vision to say, Uwa.
This is the possibility.
Yes, that's the possibility. I will never go out of my way. Now, look at our young people. How many of them, right, are coming out to say they want to go get their PVC?
Let me tell you something.
That now they have to use music and
To
dance
lure
lure them to go and get their PVC. You don't have to do that. If I know that, this country can be great, but it has to be.
And the leadership would affect me.
I think we are an entitled people.
Okay.
Milola Tiwa online.
We are entitled people. And the moment we keep on doing this, we will never grow. See, let me tell you something. One thing that awakens the human soul is suffering. Trust me, pleasure does not fix nobody.
I believe that.
You have to
as
go
well.
through the rigor of pain, of sacrifice, for you to come out renewed. We need to stop this comparing our country with developed countries.
Yeah.
They're not the same thing.
It's not working.
What works there will not work here.
Yeah.
We need to look at it and say, okay, we have added. What about we approach it from enough is enough? And we really go the extra yard to really say enough is enough. People want change. People ask for change, but people are not ready to pay the price for change. This is why we have the government we have. It's not about the lack of education. Do you want to try the level of education that my people have? Do you not see them on social media?
Okay,
do you not see how they attack one another? Do you not see how they tear each other apart?
Yes. Ignorance are two different things.
They are enlightened enough. They are educated enough.
That's where you miss it. We are saying that even us here, with the level of education that we have, we didn't understand. We were not enlightened politically. We were politically illiterate.
You were not.
No. You do not become interested in something you know not about. So we were not involved because we were not
at a particular
enlightened.
level, your parents and the government are responsible for your welfare.
I hope you know when I turned 18, I got my PVC.
I don't know about that.
I'm telling you now.
But
because
I'm saying,
my father is someone that
you don't want to touch politics. Why?
I'm not interested
so what's
in
the point
politics.
Of getting a PVC?
I'm not interested in
so you wanted to take
office.
It for voting?
Yes, I love to participate.
Voting since you turned 18.
Of course, I've been voting.
Since you turned 18.
She has been voting.
See, babes, see. Let's share the responsibility. If we leave too much weight on one side, the thing is going to tilt over.
I agree with you. But
for me, it's about bringing balance to this conversation.
We talked about schools and curriculum.
Letting people know that they have responsibilities.
Milola, we talked about the government, we talked about the schools, and adding politics or history.
It's the government that still creates the schools.
Yes, so
then
the burden goes back to the government.
Now
Thank you.
I
arrest my case.
I am saying that the government has failed to deliver? Do we keep crying wolf and throw our
So
hands
let me
together?
tell you how it's
So
gonna
what's
happen.
the next
So
line
that's
of
why we are
action?
arming ourselves now.
Yes,
With
so
what?
let me tell you
With the
how-
PVC? PVC doesn't fix nothing.
But it's a first step.
It's a
It's
start.
a step so in the right direction.
People do not understand what is going on behind
Tell
the
us.
scenes. You need to know that PVC does not guarantee you nothing.
Yeah, but,
if there's
but when
anything
you
need
keep
to start
saying
to
that,
inculcate,
you might be discouraging some people. So PVC is the first step. It's a good
we
step.
are not
guys.
trying
Get
to
your
paper
PVC,
over the
but
cracks.
get involved as well.
Let's not paper over the cracks. Let's fix the crack. Let's not pretend that, yeah, let's just get PVC. No, it doesn't fix it. You see, this attitude of trying to do bare minimum is the problem we have in this country. Let's agree that we have messed up. And let everybody start to go back and take responsibility.
Milola, we should
Because
give
give
up right now
Nigerians
and wait for another 8 years.
No, I will never say that.
So what are we
if
going
all
to do?
Nigerians start to amalgamate in terms of knowledge, the schools have failed to deliver to us. We have a lot of... It was just like when we're leaving school. If you fail WAEC, what do? You write GCE. You write A-levels. There are alternative sources of education.
Okay.
If the people can decide to take their destiny into their hands and create... We create power for ourselves. We create water for ourselves. Why? Because it's a means of survival. We do not take the extra trouble to acquire extra knowledge because we think, yeah, we'll be fine. Let's take responsibility and start to provide platforms. One of the reasons why I love Kunle Lawal is the platform that he created for enlightening people on elections.
Yeah,
and a number of times I have
doing
watched that
now.
thing, I have learned significantly. Let us as individuals create associations.
So, Milola,
we will challenge the government with the strength of our relevance and knowledge.
With this
not
new,
by complaining.
Milola, with this new knowledge
we are always complaining and passing the ball.
Milola,
we are always complaining and
we be coming down.
We are on national team.
Milola, be coming down with the new knowledge that you have, the new insight that you have into deep mysteries. Can you set up something like what?
Of course.
Lawal has done?
I don't need to set up a parallel one. I can reinforce it. I can be
You
part
can even
of
do
the
it
system.
for girls. You can go to secondary schools.
Without
and
a
do
doubt.
a lot.
You do not
I
know.
would like to work with you.
You do
on
not
that.
know, my babe. You do not know when I realized that I can't just be given a ticket on a platter because people don't trust you.
Yes, true.
And you don't blame them.
Yeah.
You just came. Fine woman. What did she find?
Yeah.
People cannot connect with the art of service that I carry to the table. They just look at you like, who's your godfather? Who's funding you? What's
there
your
has
agenda?
to be some
There's a lot of
backbone.
cynicism around the fact that you took the liberty to leave your comfort zone and come to the rural community.
There's
They
something
could not
else.
see beyond the desire.
I
So what do?
believe.
You enlighten them. You woo them. You come down from your own managre and identify with them. With time, they start to believe in you. Correct. Reform and changes start from within.
So
and
please,
it takes time.
I would tell
like us
Milola
to
to
do-
say it as it is. In Nigeria, we also need to compete with other countries. So what she, obviously the person saying that
It's been an
We are
interesting
not,
conversation.
because Milola said we can't be copying them.
we can need to compare apples with apples.
Yeah.
I was just going to say to Milola that movement is already happening. We are not passing
It's
all
already
the ball
happening. The
to
fact
team.
that we're even
We are not
talking
doing
about
enough.
There are skits. Manny, you have a comment. There are skits that goes to say, if you know PVC, I won't no show for tonight. Husband and wife. If you
Yeah,
don't
no
give me
PVC,
I won't give
no
you money.
salary.
No salary. I won't
We
give you.
make skits and memes about serious conversation. We're a joke of a country. I'm
Jesus
sorry,
is Lord.
we don't take our life very seriously. And as long as we continue to have this attitude of we joke over it, we will continue to, our government will continue to laugh.
Milola, we
Absolutely.
joke over,
We need to go.
everything.
Manny, you had a comment. Over. We have run out of time.
Good evening,
It's been an
my-
amazing
my
evening.
dear beautiful sisters.
We're gonna
Of what
continue
are
this.
you saying? #ways. The question is, has democracy succeeded in Nigeria? To me, the answer is a capital no. There is no too much talk about this. Years back, we had no freedom of speech and movement, no good education, lack of accountability of administration. My dear beautiful sister Damilola said something serious and important. She said that we need to go outside and learn from people that are better than us, and it is true for us to have true and genuine democracy.
On that
Sister
note.
Damilola, you are welcome back, looking
Thank you.
beautiful and great.
you.
My
Before
name
we
is
go-
Daniel Ilo Ways.
Are you trying to keep your comments short, Daniel? Thank you. Before we go do a show, thank you so much, ladies. We had a fantastic conversation.
in fact,
I think we have to do a part
There
2
will not
tomorrow.
have been space for a guest.
At all.
Really?
Before we go do a show, you follow us on Instagram at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, importantly, follow all our engagements on social media. Like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Democracy is not an easy form of government because it is never final. It is a living, changing organism with a continuous shifting and adjusting of balance between individual freedom and general order. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy. Hey, well.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Hello and welcome to TW Conversations. We're talking about education today, and one of the things I wonder about when people talk about education is, what do they really mean? Because I get the sense that people are confusing education with literacy, and it's not exactly the same thing. But in any event, what is the role of leadership and governance in education? When I think about it, and I think about the countries that have issues, you can trace it back to, what does leadership want from its people? Leadership is responsible for the curriculum and for executing whatever budget it is. They're responsible for giving us money for education. They're responsible for governance in education. And so we can't walk away from the importance of leadership. And education is a tool for either development or dominance and subjugation. So having said that, let's talk about Nigeria. Ifweka, what's your experience with leadership in the context of education? Because you've been in education for 25 years.
Yes, not involved enough. Not, I'm sure we're not here to cascade the government. It's just that we're not getting it right, quite right. You see, because yes, the government, the leadership is involved or is responsible for setting the tone in terms of curriculum, because the government says this is what we want from our educated populace. This is what we want our children to be able to do. And so in that wise, we set the tone for content in terms of curriculum. But where we have a problem, and why we still have the problem, is that we are not coming together, pulling all stakeholders together to make this decision together. Because when you say government, it's not just the one person. It's getting every one of us involved in making, the decision and deciding what should be there, and implementation of what it is that we have designed or that we have set out there. That's a problem that I've found over the years with our government.
I totally agree with you, because one of the things I think of all the time is the issue of removing history from the curriculum. Exactly. It's a government decision. Deciding that it should be integrated science, it's a government decision. Yes. And you're a young person. Honestly, you're one of the people who did integrated science.
I did integrated science.
So, what's your view on it?
Well,
Adesha, I know you have something to say.
I
You're going to say that.
I must say this thing.
Okay.
So you see how, if I open this program, Professor of Leadership has been given Professor of Leadership and Governance.
You know what they call that thing? It's just in the eye.
There really is a difference between literacy and being educated.
Education and literacy.
I'm telling you.
She's educated and she's
Oh, yeah,
literate.
answer the question.
I mean, education, like I've said a couple of times, is that I feel it has changed or is changing, is evolving. Is it getting better? I'm not sure. Is it... Well, it depends on how you look at it.
Under 3.
So, and that's the reason why I'm really concerned. The type of education they have now and the type that we had before. I feel like it was more inclusive before, and everybody used to. There wasn't a mix. I mean, I didn't care if the person beside me before was the mother I used to sell in the market, or the person was, you know. Now it's very children are more aware. So the type of education that we're getting now, are you really mixing?
Yes, you know,
that really excites you, right?
I'm being rude here. Sorry. I didn't actually say who everybody is. I'm assuming that you know Anne. You know Ifoma, you know me, but Mrs. Thomas is an expert, as you've seen. Siwa, well, we just pulled her in because she's a young lawyer who also has done some work with children and one of the privileged, educated children of today. And then, of course, we have this mama here who represents UNICEF, and we're going to be attacking them very soon. Not attacking. Sorry, Azuka came all the way from Abuja to be in our lounge, so we'll give her time. So while we're doing that, I'm sorry, I had to do that before they think that, who are we talking to? Are these the new co-anchors for
TW
Conversations? Okay.
But Anne, the comment you made is interesting to me because you're assuming education can only be done in school. But that's not true, is it?
Exactly.
That's not true.
That's the point I was coming to when she said what we have is actually literacy in our schools, private schools, public schools. That's why I said the government needs to get every single stakeholder involved when we're thinking education. Because it's such a education is broad. It's not limited to literacy, which is what we get in schools.
Obviously, that's what has pushed people like Siwa, because I'm the one that pulled down to this show, to go do the kind of work that they're doing. Now, you went to school, you went to, I say, privileged background, and then you decided to go do some kind of research that saw you children going to school in not so privileged background. What are the things that came out to you when you saw all of those things?
Okay, so having gone to a private school and then going into public schools and working with children there, and we see that they're really just educated to learn how to read and write and take exams.
That's literacy. That's literacy.
Yes, so there's not that whole round education that you get where they come out with skills that they can use and a sense of thinking, critical thinking, and awareness of what's going on around.
So, you see, the purpose of education, which brings us to the purpose of education, is to open the mind to the possibilities. You use the words critical thinking, exactly, to teach you to absorb information from all places, whether you agree with it or not, and to come to your own assessments of the position you're taking. So, which means that, to go back to what you're saying, the Nigerian educational system does not teach critical thinking.
Is that the way you're worried?
So... What is your assessment of the position, and what is the role that you can play in helping to do something about it?
Well, I want to bring us back to formal education, formal schooling.
Literacy.
Which is literacy. And for us in UNICEF, we take issues around education.
What do you do for UNICEF? I'm sorry.
My name is Azuka Menkiti. I'm an education specialist working in UNICEF Nigeria, based in Abuja office. Menkiti, well, just happens to be quite a popular name. And so in UNICEF, we look at education, formal education for children, and we're very concerned about the fact that children are missing education. And beyond, absolutely, yes. Beyond before we get to the level where we begin to talk about critical thinking, we need to create the opportunity for every Nigerian child to at least get into school. But that is what is not happening today. Majority of Nigerian children are not achieving their dream of getting into school and getting quality education. One step is to get into school. The second step is getting quality education, which gives you the foundation to begin to look at critical thinking. But for us in UNICEF, there are 3 key areas. We're looking at access. We're looking at quality education. We're looking at strengthening governance in education. For us, if all of these 3 are addressed, every Nigerian child will enjoy his or her right to education. For access, we have been able to find out that a lot of Nigerians are not going to school, Nigerian children, especially in northern Nigeria. The statistics that everybody...
the schools are not there,
yeah,
or they don't want to go to school?
There are two things. In some places, the schools are not there. In some places, it's about decision of who goes to school. When resources are lean, for instance, in rural communities, when resources are lean, decision of who goes to school becomes on a scale. And most often, when it has to be done between a boy and a girl, decision is done in favor of the boy. I don't know. Yeah, but this is a reality. This is a reality. This is a reality. So for UNICEF, we're focusing on girls' education. We want to ensure that that girl who sits in one rural community, living in one poor household, is able to access her right to education. That is also part of our equity campaign. Okay. So we're looking at equity.
Okay, you have an equity campaign, and you want people to begin to see education as a child's right, but the children themselves must know first now.
Yeah, so for us, it is about equitable access to quality education. So we take 3 strands. We look at access. What do we need to begin to increase demand? Because access has to be done with demand. Parents have to demand for education. There are communities in this country where parents are not prioritizing education.
I can't believe this.
You know, I think that's why, you see, because when Ifoma was speaking, you were pointing in a direction. We're talking about governance, because everything that you are saying, it boils down to decision-making, governance. And so before we get there, we must first deal with the problem because if we don't touch the root of the problem, we will just be talking and having meetings, like I was telling you earlier, conventions upon conventions, meetings upon meetings, and just talking. Yeah, the people who decide what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. But you see, in education, we need to be able to match demand with supply. Mm-hmm. You can have 100 teachers in a school, but if you don't have children. But if you have children, I mean, so a school, what I'm saying is this. No, so for us in UNICEF, we are combining every aspect that needs to be addressed. So we're looking at the demand, but also working with government very closely to ensure that the supply is met. Because when children come to school, and the supply is not met, then there's a whole lot of gap.
There's a fundamental thing, which I think, again, is what you focus on to address. First of all, if there's no school that's built, if government hasn't built the school, it doesn't matter how much demand there is. So that's, first of all, it has to be in the budget. And it has to be disbursed from the budget, which is where, so leadership has to decide that it's a critical area. Exactly. And then the governance, which is the education ministry, in terms of governance of the curriculum, determining the curriculum, making sure that curriculum even is used. But you set up the school first, you fund the school, you get the teachers. So the schools aren't there, the teachers aren't there. Because teachers are teaching you Czechoslovakia again, and that's when you're lucky. That's when you're lucky, and they even know that there's Czechoslovakia. They even know that there's Czechoslovakia. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and for me, I'm not so sure that school is. I think parents need to be, because education is not literacy.
You remember what I said?
I'm sweating. I'm sweating. Let's take a break. Please, let's take a break. Because at this point in time, I'm the only one that seems to be saying, we're not even arguing.
You know but I'm into it. That's it.
But we must take a break. We'll be right back. We'll be right back with the conversation. And our conversation really is about you understanding that you have to make your own noise about getting right education.
Absolutely.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our lounge. If you were watching before we went on the break, you would notice that the ladies have gone on a rampage. They're really passionate about this topic. Education is very key, and we cannot overemphasize that. Siwa, before we went on the break, was about to express herself on her findings and what we can really do. And is there really hope? Siwa.
Okay, so I know we were talking about schools in the north as well and the schools in the south. So I've only witnessed what's going on with schools in the south. And I found that many of them are overcrowded, actually. There are a lot of students there and they don't have enough infrastructure. And most times their teachers are not there. So in some of the schools I went to, they were on break for most of the day. So they would have themselves running around and doing things other than studying. And then when it comes to the times for exams, you would find them just learning on how to take the exams.
What does it do to you as somebody who's had a very good education? Now you know.
It makes me bothered because I know that the government does have a role to play, and maybe their parents may not be educated enough to also know what's available and how to also make sure that the curriculum, if it's properly set, is being implemented.
Can I say something? There's a youth center that I was involved with setting up, and we had a literacy class, and children in SS couldn't read. And so we had to literally teach them using books to read. So we didn't go through ABC, no. We used books and then discussed books, and then eventually they got better. And that is just symptomatic of the problem. If you can't read and you can't write, what do you have to offer the world when you come out?
Which is why what you guys are trying to do now, UNICEF is saying that they're trying to get more people to go into school.
No. What UNICEF is doing is taking the issues around education holistically, addressing access, addressing quality, and addressing governance at the same time. Because we recognize, so we recognize that you cannot pick one and leave the other. That's what we are doing. So we are addressing access, and we are addressing quality by training teachers, and also working with government to ensure that government... Yes, so we're addressing these three. So we are
no, you see, sector and NGOs have to be involved.
You see what UNICEF is doing.
Oh, sorry, Azuka, we see, Ifeoma, you made a comment. You said the secondary school children that were in that camp that you were part of couldn't read. So I was going to point to the fact that literacy is critical. Yes, it is literacy that is a leg upon which education will stand.
Absolutely.
You cannot take education away from literacy.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, you're talking about government, we're talking about teachers. We have forgotten the most critical of them is the parents. We need to enlighten the parents. They make the decision about whether the children go to school or not. Or stay in school.
Teachers of the
they are the, thank you. That is where the education part comes
and
in.
The values.
Now,
they
if the
values.
parents, like you have in the North, I don't see why I should educate a girl child as a mom. I didn't go to school. See, I didn't go to school, and I got married. And so when you are done with education, you are going to go back to the kitchen. So there's no need. So the father says, you are not going to fetch me anything but problem, because I'm going to, no value. So my son will fetch me some. So if we don't go where we should go, we will keep walking around in circles.
That's why we're having this conversation
now. We will keep going round and round in circles.
UNICEF, you understand that. You understand that you cannot take up one issue, one aspect of education and leave the other. So what UNICEF is doing is a full package. Get the demand, increase the demand, and get people to appreciate why they need to demand for education. And then at the same time, work with government to appreciate the fact that supply must meet demand, and also strengthen the systems.
So UNICEF is doing a lot. Can you track the impact of what you've done so far?
Yes, a lot. a lot has happened. And I must say that we are tracking. We are tracking. Every year, for instance, we organize a enrollment campaign in some selected states. I mean, usually we use independent third-party consultants. Okay. Usually we step aside. Okay. UNICEF likes, getting feedback so that it will help us to plan better. So we normally organize our evaluations independently. Okay. Recently, I was talking about, the impact evaluation of our cash transfer program. We implemented a cash transfer program for girls' education in 2 states, in Sokoto and Niger State. But also it's important for UNICEF about sustainability, about how government will be able to, we don't want to do pockets of projects.
Sorry, was this cash transfer done with government?
Yes, definitely. The government
Did you give government the money?
Yes. We work with government.
Okay.
We work with government, and we also do institutional capacity. We also build institutional capacity. We don't want to step aside. By the time we step aside, and it all drops, like some organizations.
So you give government money to give to mothers and
What we do is that we work with government, with other stakeholders, to make sure that the systems are strengthened. And once these systems are, like Sokoto State, I was talking about cash transfer. When we implemented 2 years cash transfer program for girls in Sokoto and Niger States, at the end before we got to the end of second year, Sokoto State government picked it up.
So how many more children were going to school?
Yes, our evaluation showed that we had 65% increase in enrollment, retention, and attendance. Because for schooling, it goes beyond enrolling in school. Attendance is very key. And retention is also very critical. And transition, and then the content of what you learn is important. So we also recognize all of this and pulled all of that into a project, into a program that government takes a lead. Most of the time, government takes the lead and UNICEF provides technical support and financial support.
Step in at this point? We're focused on public schools. What tells us that private schools are doing such a good job? How do we know they are? Because you see, because I'll tell you something, one of the things I've noticed, a lot of private school children come out and they don't use their initiative. They're waiting for you to tell them what to do. So how are they being taught? Is it just regurgitate brilliantly what you're being told? What is the process? Because education is about getting you to think. It's about getting you to think. And if a person comes out of a private school and paid all that money and you ask them to do something, and they can't take the initiative, or there's a problem, they're waiting for you to tell them what to do. That's what I see all the time.
You see, there's a quality control is a problem.
That's where government also comes in.
That is where governance comes in.
In terms of supervision.
Supervision, quality control. You see, because in the past, we used to have inspectors. You know, I have not been. No. Let me land. We used to have inspectors that actually went to schools to inspect schools, and in inspecting the schools, there are standards. You see, the government has done a lot of work.
Yeah.
In fairness to the government, there are standards. There are checklists there that are given to schools, private schools, by which there are the standards of classroom space, do you understand? Land space, number of children, infrastructure, standards for curriculum, what you should cover, they're there. But there's no monitoring, quality control. So you find a lot of private schools, because there is a lot of competition, you as a private school owner or runner or whatever you want to call it, or proprietor or trust, as the case may be, you must then ensure that you control your quality, because it's the quality that you offer that you sell. So that's what we're having. But that's what we're having.
No, say what she said, for example. There are schools and there are schools. Schools are concentrating on being 100% or being first or having great exams.
Passing.
No, we have that as a problem.
That
is a problem for a discussion that will take 1 hour. So let's not go there. Don't bring it here.
It will even take one whole day.
A whole day. We won't live here.
Education includes value systems. Value systems being passed. I don't believe that school is the only place to get education, because not everybody goes to formal school. But you can be schooled. So you're schooled, but you don't go to formal school. Yes. And education is it's not just about classroom learning. It's about every other thing you expose yourself to. The word education presupposes that there's exposure to everything. So if I come here, the things I see educate me more. If I've never been in a studio before, I say, oh, is this how it is? And so that information, unknowingly, I've registered it, and somewhere else I will use it, because every single thing we learn and we see is used. Even when you go to those schools, state schools, there's something you're learning. You're talking about the things that you have knowingly noticed. There are things you have unknowingly noticed, which those are the sorts of things that UNICEF also uses, because people are critical in the way they look at things.
This problem will not go away.
It can't.
Let me tell you why. When you say you are educated by what you see, so I'm a child, and my mom comes to school and says, I want my child to do common entrance. My child is 8 years old, so I want the child to do common entrance. Please, can you just put there that the child is 10? And then mom goes, the child can see the mom going to sign affidavit that my child is 10, and takes the child to school to write. In secondary school, the mom comes and looks for a teacher that you will bribe and say, do you know anybody in WAEC? Can we get the question? The children are seeing their parents do that. That's a problem we have.
Education. So you see, our education is the other way. There's a lot going on.
Okay, we have just about 3 minutes to go on this show. It would be nice for us to at least kind of profile some kind of solutions. We said government has to do. UNICEF has established a problem, and there's a campaign you're going to run for the next 2 or 3 months to ensure that you're raising the awareness. But the thing is really our business and our problem, right? So I think we should all just give what we think solutions are. Because you set up an NGO.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because you can't wait for government to do everything.
Okay, well, our NGO is called Like a Palm Tree Foundation.
Palm Tree?
Like a Palm Tree Foundation, raising flourishing youth and children. But we focus our first focus is on Project Open Eyes, which is on internet safety for children. But we understand that we need to make sure that children are kept safe online and offline. Yes, but in terms of a solution, I would say really raising awareness with the parents, because children first learn from the parents. They learn what they see at home, and they also go and teach other children in schools and challenge the teachers with that. So I would say really focusing on parents being the first point of value system education for the children. And then that way, when we're talking about literacy and education as a whole, we know that what they're being taught in the schools is the same as what they're being taught at home.
A friend of mine recently said that she went to a school to look for a school for her child. And when she got there, she saw the kids in high school, which are in the same building, walk past without saying hello. And she said, my child's not going to go to that school. Because she believes that if you cannot even say hello, you're too big already. What are we really teaching? Apart from the formal education that you're teaching in school, she believes that this is an environment for children to also... But I know that, talking about standards, where you were talking about standards, I feel like there's competition now, for instance, in Lagos, and that has sort of pulled up the standard a bit. So people just feel like, exactly. So maybe in the rural areas, because the competition is not as steep, people, which is the truth, really. In Lagos, for instance, like I said, so if we feel that maybe, and then teachers, the quality of teachers that we have, I don't see them improving themselves as much as they used to. They're not even aware. I mean, my nanny was talking about her teacher, she was upset. She didn't even go to university. She doesn't go to university. Her kids go to school, and she comes back home. Yes.
Oh.
She's a come and go.
That's a very good one.
And then she explains that she was very unimpressed with what the teacher was teaching her child. And I asked her, how are you able to evaluate what your child... She's like, even me that didn't go to university, I know this. If the child doesn't know this, there's a problem already. So it gives us a better perspective.
Everybody needs to be involved because there's a problem. We need to have advocacy. I'm glad that UNICEF is doing campaigns. But UNICEF working with who? We have education reformers who are working with educators. So we need to take it from different angles. We need to have maybe there's an NGO that will focus on enlightening parents. Let that be their campaign. It's a huge task that UNICEF is taking on. Maybe you have the infrastructure to handle it. Maybe you have the manpower to handle it. But I'm saying out there, we need people to rise up and say, you know what? We're going to face educating parents. We're going to have town hall meetings regularly just to psych our parents and get them to understand why it's important for values to return to education and why you must be involved in your children's education. We need educators to address teacher training, so we have some people focusing on teacher training. It's a collaborative effort, because if we do one end, we will fall again because we haven't done the other end. Simultaneously, we must be handling them together.
Yeah, that is why UNICEF is taking the whole issues holistically. And my last word is this, that we can deliver vaccine, we can deliver food to children to keep them alive and healthy, but if we do not deliver quality education, we are going to keep helping the children of the children that have failed today.
That's right.
I hope you understand what I mean.
Absolutely.
If we don't address issues around delivery of quality education, we are going to keep going round and round as a nation and keep helping children of the children of the children that have failed today in terms of investing in education.
Show, but let Ifeoma tell me her last words. Education and literacy.
My last word is this. I'm really interested in the young people. People from 18 and above, right up to beyond to 30-something, those who are not married.
Oh.
Yes, and I say that because they're going to become the parents of tomorrow. And it is now that they need to have the value system, open their minds to what it is that needs to be done to improve the world, so that when they're taking decisions about school, they're informed. And if they decide their children should start at home, that the mother should teach the children, because some people do that. They stay at home till 5. Some people do that in order for the children to have basic values, home training and knowledge. Because that first primary education, the foundation of it, if it's wrong, everything is wrong.
Thank you so much.
Now you sabi.
This is our lounge. We must go. It's everybody. The truth is, you can continue conversations on our social media platforms. So no problem. But it's your conversation, though. Take it forward from here. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great job.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
On Plus TV News now, President Buhari Jonathan orders attend Democracy Day parade at the Eagle Square. Clashes in Sudan's Darfur region kill more than 100. UK court allows first migrant deportation flight to Rwanda. Good evening, I'm Olamide Adeyemi. This is the news now. President Muhammadu Buhari was at the Eagle Square in Abuja today for the 2022 Democracy Day Parade. The parade is an annual exercise held in honor of the nation's return to civil rule and to remember Nigeria's heroes of democracy. President Buhari's arrival was heralded by a general salute signaling the official kickoff of the exercise. Prior to the president's arrival, the guards had fallen into formation with several general salutes taken to welcome squad leaders and the commander of the Guards Brigade. There were also general salutes for the service chiefs and the Inspector General of the Police Force, as well as salutations for former presidents and vice presidents, among other dignitaries. Present at the arena to welcome President Buhari were the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, retired, Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Rabah, ministers and other members of the President's Cabinet, members of the National Assembly, and members of the Diplomatic Corps. Governor Darius Ishaku of Taraba State has challenged leaders at all levels to entrench the true meaning of democracy by providing security for citizens. The governor, while fielding questions from newsmen at the Damba Basunta Airport in Jalingo shortly after he arrived at the state capital at the end of his official visit to Abuja, stated that the sole responsibility of the government is to provide security for citizens to be able to carry out daily activities without fear. He urged Tarabans to register and obtain their permanent voters' cards ahead of the 2023 general elections, as he wished them the best of the Democracy Day celebration.
Today, as Democracy Day, I will advise all Nigerians to imbibe the culture of democracy so that we can continue in democracy. So far, we can see the benefits of democracy outweighs other systems of governance. I will also advise we that are in leadership that the first rule and the first thing to do for any democratic society is to ensure that security is entrenched. Without security, you can really never talk of democracy. It's only when you have democracy entrenched in people and you have security on the ground for people that the value of democracy itself comes out.
A Catholic priest in charge of St. Anthony's Parish and Gwari community in the Just East local government area of Plateau State, Reverend James Kantoma, who is also the chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria in the Council area, has been kidnapped by gunmen. It was gathered that Kantoma was abducted at his house in the community by the gunmen last night. The police PRO of the state command, Alaba Alfred, when contacted, said that the command was aware of the incident and had deployed officers and men from the anti-kidnapping unit to the community. Moving on, Oyo State Police Command has confirmed the abduction of the Bishop of Jebe Diocese, Kwara State, Reverend Aderogba Adeyinka Oluwaseun, his wife Oriofe, and the driver. They were abducted yesterday around 8:30 p.m. at an isolated area along New Oyo-Gbomosho Expressway. The command has initiated an intensive manhunt for the abductors. A source hinted abductors have demanded a ransom of 50 million naira. The source also hinted that a former vice-chancellor of the Ajayi Crowther University, Professor Dapo Ashaju, was contacted by the abductors. Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu yesterday received his Osun State counterpart, Mr. Gboyega Oyetola, at the Government House, Alagbaka, Akure, the state capital. Governor Oyetola was in Akure to commiserate with the Governor Akeredolu over the last Sunday terror attack on Owo. Governor Akeredolu, while thanking the Osun State governor for his visit, acknowledged his several calls since the incident occurred. He said the last Sunday attack was better imagined, stressing that the security architecture of the country must be adjusted. According to him, Amotekun must be strengthened to meet the security challenges in the region.
So we need to do everything humanly possible to ensure we don't allow them to, turn our zone to an insecurity situation.
Our security architecture, we have to do something about it. We have to do something. It's not anybody proposing us now about community police. It's not your community police. What we are talking about is state police.
Members of the Kaduna State Vigilance Service have intercepted 15 bags of cannabis and a motorcycle from suspected drug traffickers in Ikara local government area of the state. Speaking while handling over the illicit substances to the representatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency in his office, the commander of the Kaduna State Vigilance Service, retired Brigadier General Omar Ibrahim, said the seizures were made by his men following a tip-off about the nefarious activities of the drug traffickers in the current local government. Abela Darufa reports.
Retired Brigadier General Omar Ibrahim explained that no arrest was made as the suspects, upon sighting his men, took to their heels, abandoning the 15 bags of the hard substances behind, which they were loading on a motorcycle.
The seizure that was made by personnel of this service in Ikara local government area, intelligence tip-up. The there were some miscreants and criminals who are offloading Indian hemp and other assorted drugs. Based on intelligence tip-up, the men rushed to the scene to go and make arrests. But on sighting them, they ran away, leaving about 15 bags of Indian hemp, and this thing you can see here. We now got the items arrested from Ikara. That CADVIS has been assisting the Drug Law Enforcement Agency in curtailing all these activities.
Receiving the ITMC Deputy Commander, Operations and Investigation of NDLEA, Kaduna State Command, Adetola Lawal, described the seizures as evidence of collaboration among the sister agencies to make Kaduna safer from all forms of drug abuse and trafficking.
NDLEA are working in every area to ensure that such abusive substance like this is totally eradicated from the society, especially when as the election is coming. You know, all this political talk, they cannot do anything without substance something. And when they take it, they will unleash that power, that drug substances to the society. But we are ensured that most of every drug joint is being dismantled.
The Commissioner of Kaduna State of Internal Security and Home Affairs, who was represented by Director Internal Security and Special Services, said the distribution and intake of drugs are major concerns to government and society.
Consumption of illicit drugs has been a major source of concern to government and to our societies. In fact, we have it that most of the crimes being committed within our respective communities were carried out under the influence of drugs.
The NDLEA, however, sought the collaboration and cooperation of the public in the anti-war drug, insisting that this is a task for all citizens.
Now, the Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria, LCCN, under the auspices of the Lutheran World Federation in collaboration with the Symbols of Hope Initiative, has flagged off a sensitization campaign against human trafficking and illegal migration. This was revealed during the organization's visit to Tantale Hills of Komatu in Adamawa State. The report.
Human trafficking involves recruitment, harboring or transporting people into forced labor, prostitution, begging, criminality, domestic servitude, and forced removal of organs through sexploitation. This menace, though, has been in existence for as far back as the days of colonialism. It remains a grave crime in Nigeria as it is against the fundamental rights of an individual. And since so many people are still adamant about keeping the practice, the Symbols of Hope Initiative, in collaboration with the Lutheran World Federation, are taking their campaign to places such as markets, schools, and remote communities to sensitize the people. According to the coordinator, Emmanuel Gabriel, alongside his team members, the visit was to educate the residents about the dangers of human trafficking and the need to avoid giving out their children and wards to strangers on the pretext of a better life.
The sensitization in Koma is basically on creating awareness to the people of Koma with regards to human trafficking and irregular migration. A lot of migrant smugglers and human traffickers have taken advantage of their ignorance to take their children to the cities and sometimes subject them to slave-like activities and domestic servitude and forced labor. So the Symbols of Hope project, which is a department of the Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria, feels right to come over here and educate the people.
There is going to be a change of the perspective of the people of how they should live their life, or wherever such will happen, they should have caution on what to do and how they will live their life.
Meanwhile, the resident pastor of the LCCN Church in Tantale, Augustine Tulip, described how the issue has been of major concern in the community.
Some people are coming to deceive them that they should come and go together with them for education. But unfortunately, they are taking them as a slave. About 95% of our children are not present with us.
This has been an annual routine for the LCCN Church, with the expectations to bring the ugly trend to the BRS minimum.
Former Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Kingsley Moghalu, has resigned from the African Democratic Congress. He left the party after losing the party's presidential ticket to Dumebi Kachikwu. In a letter dated June the 13th and addressed to ADC's national chairman, Okerav Uwosu, Molu said the presidential primary had been wrought with inconsistencies. Former governor of Enugu State and the senator representing Enugu East, Chimaroke Inamani, has said that relegation of the Southeast region in power sharing in the country is sending wrong signals. Inamani said that such action is making the region feel unwanted in the Nigerian Union. He noted that since Commodore Ebitu Okewe was eased out of the number 2 position under military President Ibrahim Babangida, no Southeasterner has been considered for either the president or vice president, even though the region is recognized as one of the legs of the tripod in the power equation of the country. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has said that the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, is not recognized as a senatorial candidate for Akwa Ibom Northwest. Reports of Akpabio becoming a senatorial candidate of the ruling party came days after he stepped down for former governor of Lagos State, Bola Tinubu, at the All Progressive Congress presidential primaries. The resident electoral commissioner in Akwa Ibom, Mark Igene, said INEC officials did not monitor any primary outside the one conducted on May the 27th. Moving on, a few days to the governorship election in Ekiti State, Yoga Africa has called on INEC to ensure timely and adequate training of all ad hoc staff in preparation for the election. This was stated by Director of Programs Yaga Africa, Cynthia Mbamalu, and other members of the team at a press conference in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital. The report.
The press conference in Ekiti State by Yaga Africa is in preparation for the coming governorship election. They implore INEC to ensure proper coordination of all respective institutions, especially for all represented in the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security. They also called political parties participating in the election against vote bribery, stating that it undermines the democratic process.
To the political parties, Yaga Africa vehemently opposes any sort of voter bribery because it undermines the democratic process. Political parties are encouraged to run issue-based campaigns rather than tempting voters with unsuitable gifts that do not contribute to the state's economic development. We have reports that as much as 20,000 naira is given to voters.
Cynthia Mbamalu, Yaga Africa, at a separate forum, the chief technical advisor to INEC chairman, Professor Bolade Ayinla, during a day training workshop organized for Ekiti journalists, had said vote buying must be abated in Ekiti to ensure the sanctity of the electoral process.
We are collaborating to track illegal financial flows. And you can be sure that we are tracking illegal financial flows. Not only that, as regulators, political party also submit statements of their accounts to us. And they also submit their statement of campaign finance to us. We go through this. We also deploy monitors to the field to monitor campaign finance.
The countdown to the election has started, and all eyes are on INEC and the political parties to see how this will be a test run for the bigger outing in 2023.
The leadership of Young People's Party has vowed to dislodge PDP in the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar state constituency of Jada, Amayobewa, Tongo, Gaye. This was made known during the party primaries in Jada, where Honorable Nahudin Amayare marched as the party candidate for the constituencies. Meanwhile, former Deputy Governor of Adamawa State, Mohammed Sahad Taha, has emerged the governorship candidate of New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, in the state. It was elected by affirmation with voice votes as consensus candidate in the party.
The last person here with me, number 15, is Ali B. Ilyasu.
NNPP governorship primary was rank-off free in Adamawa. The Congress, attended by delegates across the 21 local governments in the state, saw the former deputy governor of the state as consensus candidate of the party for 2023 election. The chairman of the Electoral Committee, Salman Nusafiano Abdulsalam, said 678 delegates participated in the primaries, with 3 drawn from each of the 226 polling units. In his remark, the candidates promised inclusive government that would transform the state.
So inshallah we will transform Adamawa, and we are tired of suffering from various governments.
I'm extremely happy actually for giving another mandate by my people to serve them. I've been there, and all what I've done is my legacy there on ground. So for even some of my delegates to give me the mandate, it's just like they have identified a driver who knows the road.
Meanwhile, the Young People Party, YPP, has conducted its primaries in Jada when it produced only one House of Representatives candidate. The party is optimistic that its candidate, Nuhuddin Hamayero, will dislodge former Vice President Atiku Abubakar from his Jada State constituency based on its popularity among the electorates.
Youths, who are the most important demography in the world now, they are fully going to be represented in the party. The party has given us a chance to air our views, to bring about our presence in every political setting. And I want to tell you people that we are going to bring this change. Amen. This region of my constituency, the 4 local governments, Mayo, Belwa, Jada, Ganye, and Tongo, is the most blessed local government in Adamawa State. But because we have left it unattended to, these regions have been underrepresented. The region have been underutilized. The favor God has given to us is agriculture. But today, even my friends in Ganye, with the name, the food basket of Adamawa State, the basket is empty.
There is a great task ahead of the former deputy governor in the 2023 race as he faces candidates of other political parties, including incumbent Governor Amadou Umaru Fintiri.
The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Adamawa State Chapter, Bishop Stephen Dami Mamze, has warned against the impending dangers that may befall the country following the attempt to endorse a Muslim ticket in the 2023 general elections. The clergyman gave the warning during a press conference held in Yola, frowned at the idea of Muslim ticket in Nigeria, saying that such a move at this point in time is not only discriminatory, but that it will be dead on arrival in a multi-ethnic religious nation like Nigeria.
Nigeria of 1993, during the time of Abiola and Kingibe, is completely different from Nigeria of 2022 or 2023. We are talking about 30 years ago. So if you talk about Muslim ticket, it is discriminatory. It is a kind of a politics of the exclusion. And there is no need for us to play politics of the exclusion in Nigeria. Everybody needs to be carried.
He warned that those fanning the embers of Muslim tickets are the enemies of the country, and that no amount of rigging can make a Muslim or a Christian ticket win in Nigeria.
To advise, particularly the ruling party, that the issue of Muslim ticket should never be considered. It should be a Christian ticket. Then why did they not decide to pick 2 people from the north? The reason is that you want to carry people along. Then why did they not even think of picking a presidential aspirant and his running mate from the south? They want to carry everybody along. So, no doubt about it, that a Muslim ticket will be dead on arrival.
Following the recent attack on 4 communities in Kajuru local government area with 32 persons killed, houses razed with children and women displaced in various IDP camps in Kaduna State, the Southern Kaduna People's Union has distributed clothes and food items to internally displaced persons in Kajuru. Abila Darufai filed this report as presented from our studios.
Sunday, the 5th of June, was a sad day for the 4 communities of Dogon, Loma, Gamu, Ongo and Sakit and Maikori village when bandits attacked and killed 32, kidnapped others, and many went missing. Speaking at the distribution of the food items to the IDPs at Maraba and Kajuru, President of Sokapu, Jonathan Ashake, said the victims of Kajuru bandits were in serious need of food items, clothing and shelter. He said the continuous attacks by terrorists in Adara communities and gruesome killings must be put to an end.
Where a helicopter was seen hovering and the helicopter, instead of firing at the attackers, fired at the victims, the natives of the communities, while the attack was going on. Eyewitnesses said it was a white helicopter, but the state government, through the Commissioner of Internal Security, came with a statement affirming the fact that there was an attack and 32 people were killed.
Ashake lamented the alleged white helicopter sighted in the communities, leading to the killings of innocent citizens, several others missing with many injured, while calling on government at all levels, security agencies and international communities to investigate thoroughly to bring culprits to justice.
We thought these people, the helicopter was, somebody might have alerted the security men and they are coming to our rescue. Lo and behold, it just came and was starting shelling everybody there. At our people, the concern is, have they really come to assist us, or they've come to assist the bandit? When we saw our people falling down as the helicopter was firing, then we too dispatch, because we cannot stand the strength of the helicopter and those on the ground.
A lot of people, they were killed in the village, and a lot we were hiding in the bush. They burned our food and clothing, and with a lot of things in their houses, including our house. They burned everything.
Earlier, the bandit demanded 15 million naira. After a few days, they later demanded additional 5 million for the safe release of kidnapped victims.
Please, we need help in our village, because our people has been killing, our house has been destroying. Many things, we lost life and our people in their hands now. We don't have any money that we are going to pay ransom to collect our people. But now they are saying that we are going to pay 20 million.
Recall that Kaduna State, in a statement at the bombed helicopter, killed innocent locals, saying the NAF had repelled the terrorists.
Moving on, the Coalition of Benin Social Cultural Organization has cautioned persons and institutions within and outside of Benin Kingdom to desist from activities that pose an infraction to the throne of the Oba of Benin. The group, while briefing journalists in Benin City, the state capital, warned that further castigation on the throne of their ancestors will result in great consequences, also stating that as indigents, they will continually uphold the cultural value of the great Benin Kingdom.
The Benin people have lived in the concept of 3 fundamental elements: the throne, the king, and the people. And it is in this cycle of elements one of the greatest civilizations was built. Enemies understand these immortal elements of connection, hence they are poised in using the same knowledge to destroy our cultural existence.
We have values for our father. Who is our father? Our father is the Oba of Benin. Omonoba Nedo Ukwa Polopolo. Obaye Ware II. I know the history very well. Yogiames are distorting history. Therefore, they cannot tell us that the position they are taking is the true position. In this case, we are urging the state government through our able governor, Mr. Godwin Enorease Obaseki, to do the needful and put the Ogiabians where they belong.
We are fully ready to ensure that we will resist any person or institution that is trying to distort our history, that is trying to destabilize the Benin Kingdom and the Benin Nation.
The Chinese Cultural Councillor Li Shode has applauded the relationship between Nigeria and China in the area of culture and tourism. Li Shode said this at this year's International Museum Day for Monuments and Sites in Abuja. Emmanuel Heijene report is presented from our studios.
It was a joyous occasion for the country as different aspects of Nigeria's culture were on display. From cultural dresses to dancing and drumming, the Chinese councillor took this opportunity to evaluate the cultural relationship between both countries over the years. He said Nigeria and China are large countries rich in ancient history and culture.
The National Commission for Museum and Monuments, such cultural institutes in Nigeria to work together, to celebrate together the great days like International Museum Day. This is the first way. And secondly, I think we can promote the artists, especially museum experts and workers to visit each other's country to promote the people-to-people exchange.
While welcoming guests, Director General National Council for Arts and Culture, Olusegun Rusewe, extolled the rich culture of Nigeria, saying the country is a tourism destination.
This year, heritage and culture and power of museums are corresponding themes for each celebration. Nigeria this year combined the celebrations to accentuate the importance of our cultural consciousness, promoting awareness about the vulnerability of the world's diverse monuments and heritage sites, and efforts required to protect and conserve them. The National Commission for Museums and Monuments partners with international bodies involved in heritage management to infuse the application of modern technology and knowledge in the preparation and implementation of heritage management strategies across Nigeria.
The event was to mark the International Day for Culture and Tourism in the country.
Reactions have continued to trail the margins over Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressive Congress. That's on Straight Views. Take a listen.
I'm not happy at all because the way this country is going now, we need a vibrant young man, somebody that has something to move this country to the next level. Atiku Abubakar, I believe he will clinch the ticket of presidency because he comes from North where they always come with block vote. And I believe his people, all the people, his people will vote for him.
I tell you that I'm very, very happy. I'm from Adamawa State. And the opposition of the Tinubu is from Adamawa State. That's Atiku Abubakar. And I don't have anything that Atiku bring to Adamawa State when he was a vice president. And talk less of he want to become a president. So I prepare Tinubu more than Atiku. I have 80% assurance Tinubu will win this election.
Actually, I'm partially happy. The reason why I say I'm partially happy is that it's this set of people that are doing it. Not that he's not a good person or not, but is he going to stay on his word? Is he going to create employment? Look at Lagos now, transport, fighting every day and then. That's not the issue. Chances against Abubakar is like, let me just say, 30-70. I give him 30 and I give Atiku 70.
I'm happy because there's nobody that can match Atiku in that APC caucus.
And if they place Tinubu and Atiku side by side, we prefer Tinubu. He has affected so many lives. That is it.
To tell you the truth, I've not been happy ever since I heard that, to tell you the truth, because these same guys have been the people ruling over us. They've ruled our fathers. They deceived us the last time. Right now, I don't really know who to pick, but my mind goes for Peter Obi.
Let's give it to Tinubu. Atiku has no chance. He has no chance. I'm telling you. When it comes to politics, playing politics, intellect, give it to Tinubu.
This is the time for him to prove his popularity this time around, because he's contesting with the giant. The other one he did is a domestic election. This one is general. After that, what we now know, Atiku is very powerful. I can see it's only Atiku that is powerful. Kwakwaso and Obi, no.
Still ahead, thousands of Congolese flee to Uganda amid tense situation. Details when we return.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games. Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Moving to other parts of Africa, the UN Refugee Agency and a tribal elder have said that tribal clashes over the past week in Sudan's war-ravaged Darfur have killed around 100 people and the latest surge in violence in the restive region. A coordinator with the UNHCR, Toby Howard, the fighting grew out of a land dispute between Arab and African tribes in the town of Kobos in West Darfur province, as the local Arab militias then attacked multiple villages in the area, forcing thousands of people to flee. A tribal leader in the town, Abka Al-Tahum, said the dead included at least 62 bodies found burned after militias set more than 20 villages on fire. The town of Bunagana, a hub of cross-border trade in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, as well as one of the main crossings into neighboring Uganda, has been reportedly seized by the M23 rebels. According to local activists cited in various reports, the rebel groups overran Congo's armed forces. The news comes one day after the office of North Kivu's military government announced the Congolese troops had successfully routed the M23 fighters. Now, thousands of Congolese, mostly children and women, are fleeing daily from the Democratic Republic of Congo into Uganda to escape the conflict between the army and rebels. People began fleeing their homes when the M23 rebels attacked Congolese security positions near the border town of Bunagana. Uganda's Red Cross spokesman, Irene Nakasita, said the people are migrating into Uganda in significant numbers as a result of the increasing conflict in the DRC. The government of Burkina Faso has said at least 50 civilians have been killed by suspected Islamists in a raid on Satenga village in the north of the country. The raid is one of the bloodiest since a military coup in January, when colonels, angered at failures to roll back the insurgency, ousted the elected president Rajmal Creston Kabul. A spokesman for the government of Burkina Faso said the Islamist attack at Tenga was in response to a successful military operation last week. Now, Somali National Army has said it has conducted an operation against the Al-Qaeda-affiliated terror group Al-Shabaab in the central Iran region, killing at least 12 Al-Shabaab terrorists. The operation, conducted by elite soldiers, took place near the town of Martaban in the central region of Iran late on Sunday. The Somali National Army commander, Brigadier General Dowa Yusuf, confirmed the operation, saying the main aim was to destroy terrorist hideouts and prevent their plots. And outside Africa, the Court of Appeal in London has rejected an appeal filed by immigration rights advocates and public employees union that sought an injunction to temporarily block deportation flights, which are scheduled to begin on Tuesday. One of the lawyers for the migrants, Raza Hussein, had argued that the government's plan involved the forced removal of asylum seekers to a country they don't want to travel to as part of a policy intended to deter others from trying to enter Britain. He said this amounts on any view to serious interference with basic dignity, where those individuals have already suffered significant trauma and have mental health issues. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, while addressing journalists at a press briefing in Geneva, has warned that the UK's deportation policy to Rwanda set a catastrophic precedent and is wrong. Britain has agreed to a deal with Rwanda to send some asylum seekers to Rwanda in return for an initial payment of £220 million and additional payments based on the number of people deported. The government says the deportation strategy will undermine people's smuggling networks and stem the flow of migrants risking their lives by crossing the English Channel in small boats from Europe.
We believe that this is all wrong. This is all wrong, this deal, for so many different reasons. And I can enumerate a few. Has the institutions to deal with that, to export that responsibility to another country, runs contrary to any notion of responsibility sharing, of international responsibility, and so forth.
Taking us up and over
Foreign Minister Liz Truss has said that Britain is completely about passing legislation on Northern Ireland that will change the way the Brexit deal agreed with the European Union is applied. She said in a video statement that coincided with the publication of legislation that it does fix the problem in the Northern Ireland Protocol and also protects the EU single market, so the EU is no worse off as a result of this legislation.
Very clear that we're acting in line with the law. We'll be publishing our legal statement later today. What is vitally important is that we do resolve this situation in Northern Ireland that is causing real problems. We haven't seen the executive operating since February. We need to get power sharing re-established. We know how hard won the Belfast Good Friday Agreement was, and that is why the government has to act. That is why we are introducing this legislation. Now, of course, we remain open to negotiations with the EU, and I would rather achieve this through a negotiated settlement. But the fact is, the EU have refused to change the protocol, which is causing these problems on trade, on tax, and more broadly in Northern Ireland.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, during a visit to Sweden, said that the country has taken important steps to meet Turkey's demand for approving Stockholm's NATO membership application. Sweden and Finland applied to join the alliance last month in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The applications have faced unexpected opposition from Turkey, which has been angered by what it deems a Swedish support of Kurdish militants and by a previous decision to withdraw arms export licenses to Turkey.
Turkey has raised concern in relations to Sweden's and Finland's applications, and we are taking them very seriously and have engaged in a dialogue together with Finland in order to find a way forward with Turkey.
I welcome that Sweden has already started to change its counter-terrorism legislation and that Sweden will ensure that the legal framework for arms export will reflect their future status as a NATO member with new commitments to allies. These are two important steps to address concerns Turkey has raised. Aim is to solve those issues as soon as possible, to be able to welcome Finland and Sweden as full members as soon as possible. And therefore, we are working hard and actively on these issues in close consultation with Stockholm, with Helsinki, and of course our NATO allied Turkey. And in that context, those signals from Sweden are important on terrorism and arms exports.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has revealed that he had tested positive for COVID-19, adding that he was feeling fine since he was vaccinated. Last week, Trudeau met U.S. President Joe Biden and attended the Summit of the Americas in California, where leaders from the region gathered to discuss issues impacting those countries, including immigration. Trudeau, 50, previously tested positive for COVID in January. Up next, cryptocurrency market value slumps under $1 trillion. That's some business news after the short break.
Oil dropped $2 a barrel on Monday as a flare-up in COVID-19 cases in Beijing dented hopes of a Chinese demand rebound, while worries about more interest rate hikes to control rampant inflation added further pressure. Beijing's most populous district, Chaoyang, announced 3 rounds of mass testing to quell a ferocious COVID-19 outbreak that emerged last week. Mass testing will take place until Wednesday. Brent crude was down $1.86 or 1.5% to $120.15 at 9:07 GMT, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was down $2.15 or 1.8% at $118.52. Concern about further rate hikes heightened by Friday's U.S. inflation data, showing the U.S. Consumer Price Index rose 8.6% last month, also pushed oil lower and weighed across financial markets. The data puts markets on alert that the Federal Reserve may tighten policy for too long and cause a sharp slowdown. The next Fed policy decision is on Wednesday. Oil has surged in 2022 as Russia's invasion of Ukraine compounded supply concerns and as oil demand recovered from COVID lockdowns. Brent hit $139, the highest since 2008 in March, and both oil benchmarks rose more than 1% last week. Lagos Environmental Sanitation Corps, JESC, popularly known as KAI, has warned traders to desist from trading or displaying their wares under bridges, walkways, and other unauthorized places in the state. The aftermath impedes free flow of human and vehicular movements across the state. This is just as the agency dismantled illegal structures at CMS Underbridge on Sunday. The Corps Marshal of the agency, CP Gbemisola Akinpelu, disclosed this at the command headquarters, Bolade Oshodi, on Monday. The CBN has increased the minimum bid for non-interest asset-backed securities to $100 million from $1 million, since the exposure draft it issued in 2020. This was revealed in the CBN circular signed by Angela Sere Jembi, Director of Financial Markets Department of the CBN, titled Framework for the Operationalization of the Central Bank of Nigeria Non-Interest Asset-Backed Securities, and issued in June 2022. The CBN non-interest asset-backed securities was created to deepen Nigerian financial markets, enhance financial inclusion, and provide a liquidity management instrument that adheres to Nigeria's non-interest finance principles. The CBN has stated that investors in its non-interest asset-backed securities will be charged agency fees. The Apex agency fees are as follows: an underlying return for 1 to 30 days investment, 10%, 31 to 90 days, 7.5%, 91 to 180 days, 5%, and 181 to 365 days, 2.5%. Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has stated that the banking sector is now immunized to withstand shocks that may impact the economy and the financial system. Mr. Bello Hassan, Managing Director of NDIC, stated this at a retreat for members of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions with the NDIC at Eco Hotel in Lagos. Any change in fundamental macroeconomic variables or relationships that has a significant impact on macroeconomic outcomes and measures of economic performance, such as unemployment, consumption, and inflation, is referred to as an economic shock. As of June 30, 2021, the NDIC had paid a total of 101.67 billion naira in uninsured sums to depositors of failed banks.
Up next is entertainment news.
Jennifer Hudson has become the latest star to join the exclusive EGOT club. People who have won the clean sweep of Emmy, Grammys, Oscar, and Tony Awards. She took one of the Broadway honors as a producer of A Strange Loop, which won Best Musicals. That made her the 17th person to have scored competitive wins in all 4 of America's main show business awards. She is the second black woman to do so after Whoopi Goldberg. An Australian newspaper has removed a gossip column and its writer has offered an apology after being accused of outing actress Rebel Wilson. Wilson shared a picture of her with her new partner, saying she had found her Disney princess. But the following day, the Sydney Morning Herald wrote they had known about the relationship before it was public. Their celebrity reporter said he had given Wilson 1.5 days to provide comment for a story. That reporter sparked widespread criticism on social media, with LGBTQ+ campaigners saying it was unacceptable to put pressure on people to come out. In response, the newspaper denied pressuring Wilson, saying it had simply asked questions. The Nigerian police yesterday noted that Burna Boy would be interrogated during the investigation of a shooting that happened at a Lagos club. The Lagos State Police Commissioner Special Squad has detained 5 policemen attached to the singer for attempted murder after they shot 2 phone seekers, Irebami Lawrence and another identified simply as Tolu, at Club Cubana in Lagos on Wednesday. In a tweet, the first public relations officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, noted that to ensure detailed investigation on the case, Burna Boy would have to be interrogated. Adejobi was responding to a fan who stated that the incident had nothing to do with Burna Boy. Former Dragons then star Hilary Devey has died aged 65. She died on Saturday after a long illness in Morocco. Her publicist, Mr. Webb, said Devey was a remarkable lady and an inspiration, who was so proud of her work on Dragons Den. She founded the multi-million-pound freight distribution business, PowerX, after selling her home and car in the 90s to finance it. Veteran filmmaker Wale Fanu is dead. The death of the filmmaker was announced by his associate, Jide Bisayo. The 72-year-old veteran who lived with sickle cell was the managing director of one of the foremost production houses in Nollywood, Signcraft. Announcing the death of the Victorian filmmaker, Bisayo noted that the Signcraft contributed to the birth of Nollywood. Though Bisayo didn't state the time or cause of the death, Fanu was known as a sickle cell survivor.
The very best in sport news is coming right up.
Hello and welcome to Sports News on Plus TV Africa. Derek Chisora has insisted revenge is not on his mind ahead of his heavyweight bout with Kubrat Pulev on July 9th. Pulev was victorious when the pair met 6 years ago, but Chisora has vowed he will stop the Bulgarian when asked if he can knock his stubborn opponent out. Pulev dismissed his Brits opponent's promise as just talk, but the respect between the pair was evident. Chisora is looking to bounce back after 3 straight losses, with Pulev eyeing this bout as a potential gateway to a dream world title fight.
So come on the 9th, it's going to be round 13 basically, where we left off. Me and this man here, you know, yes, he had a fight a couple of weeks ago, he boxed a nobody who ain't got no much skills, but I'm dedicated to I'm gonna eat his leather and I'm gonna deliver my leather basically. It's not about I want to get my revenge for where it's not. It's about July 9th entertainment. You know, you'd be very surprised. You know, it'll be amazing. It's gonna be a great fight.
We need to see something real. You know, I guarantee this is talk. You know, this in. You know, not only in sport, in world, in politics, everybody talk, so much bullshit, you know. How guarantee you stop? How?
I'm gonna give you a jab.
No, this is not real, you know. This is not real. This is just talk.
Benfica have reached an agreement with Liverpool for the sale of forward Darwin Núñez for an initial fee of 75 million euros. The Portuguese club announced on Monday, June 13th, the agreement, which includes 20 million euros in add-ons, is dependent on Núñez signing an employment contract with Liverpool, the statement added. Núñez was the top scorer in Portugal's top flight in the 2021-2022 season and scored 34 goals in all competitions for Benfica, including goals in both legs of the club's Champions League quarter-final defeat by Liverpool. His ability to play out wide and through the middle would make him the ideal replacement for Sadio Mane, who has been linked with a move to Bayern Munich. Liverpool finished the 2021-2022 season with the FA Cup and League Cup, but came second in the league and lost the Champions League final to Real Madrid. Benfica purchased Núñez from Almeria in the summer of 2020 for 24 million euros, and British media have said the Spanish club is set to receive 20% of any profit from his transfer. New Manchester City signing Erling Haaland insisted that he has been a fan of the club his whole life. Haaland's transfer to City from Borussia Dortmund was confirmed on Monday as he signed a 5-year contract at the club. The Norwegian said he was looking forward to working with Pep Guardiola and thinks he will develop under the Spanish manager. The striker feels like signing for the Manchester club is the perfect fit for him, adding, "I wouldn't have come here otherwise."
First of all, my father, a little bit. I was born in England. I've been a City fan my whole life. I know a lot about the club. I think in the end, 2 things. I feel a bit home here, I think. And also, I think I can develop and get the best out of my game in City. Yeah, of course. If not, I wouldn't come here. Yeah, it's... I like the style. I like the attacking football. I like the kind of positive vibe we have when City play football. This is what I like a lot. Yeah, I think it's a really good fit. Yeah, as I said, I think I can develop a lot under Pep and in this club. So I think I can get better on a lot of things, and hopefully I can score a lot of goals.
Have you managed to speak to Pep yet, and what's he said to you? What's he looking for from you this season?
Yeah, I've spoken a little bit with him, and we both look forward to work together.
And that's all the sports news we have for you for now. Join us next time. My name is Mikhail Tinubu. Have a good night.
And the main news again. President Buhari Jonathan orders attend Democracy Day parade at Eagle Square. Clashes in Sudan's Darfur region kill more than 100. And UK court allows first migrant deportation flight to Rwanda. That's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Olamide Adeyemi. Many thanks for watching.